Welcome, everyone, to Todd's World. Beers with Jesus today. Carrie is always with me, my lovely co-host down in Jacksonville, Florida. Missing the big winter storm that's hitting this week.
Yeah, it's not
right?
not going to be quite so bad here for us.
No, us either. We're on the northern end. We're missing it. So it's just cold. Trevor is here. I don't know. Trevor has been on before. It's been a while since you've done it with us.
Yes.
Cousin
75
Trevor,
to 80 here.
is it? Trevor's in Sarasota.
Yeah.
So we've got Carrie and Trevor both in Florida, staying nice and warm. And I am in Michigan, and I'm not sure. Maybe it's -5 right now. It's so cold here.
Ouch.
I miss it a little bit.
-2. It feels like -9.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh
I don't
my gosh.
understand.
I was in
Like, I get wind chill, but I don't get feels like.
Well, it's the same
Why
thing.
isn't that the temp?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's just a temperature, but it doesn't really feel like that. No, I was to
It feels like it if you were in a refrigerator or freezer.
yeah.
What are you saying,
doctor's
Gary?
appointment, and the doctor pulled up the weather in Michigan, somewhere in Michigan, and was like, "Wait, it says negative." It was like -7 or something. It says negative, and I'm like, "Yeah."
This must be wrong.
He was like, "Wait, like it gets into the negatives?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's where I grew up." This was just news to her. She's a Florida
That is
woman.
funny.
It was
I
so
guess that,
funny.
you grew up in the South. Maybe you never think about it. I don't know.
I guess, but wouldn't you just have heard? Like she thought,
You probably
surely
think-
that's not real.
It gets down to like 30 or
It
something.
was so funny. I thought it was so funny.
It is. This is abnormally cold for us. It is really cold, and I'm not a fan. But here we are.
I was going
We
to
gotta
ask
deal
if
with
the
it.
government was responsible, but I'm not sure that's the show today.
I know. That's a good question. Directed energy weapons, maybe? What do you think, Trevor?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? He's like,
Trevor doesn't believe it.
you guys are-
So normally we do news. We still do. So yesterday we dropped a wildly opinionated news hour where we go through clips. Normally we record news hour first and I tell you what went on. We're doing this opposite this week. So I don't know what went on news, but I can only tell you people that it's fabulous. Whatever it is, it's Hall of Fame level. And that's about what we're going to do. We're about to do that right here, right now. So usually on Beers with Jesus, we're just walking through stories in the Bible. So for over a year, we did Mark, and we went through all the different stories, just discuss them, explore them. We use the message because the message is the best. Trevor might have a different Bible with him today. You never know.
Yeah.
King
James.
He likes to bring others to the party.
I love it.
But today we're going to do, and then now we're in Acts. We've been walking through Acts most of this year. Maybe not all of this year. I can't really remember what was what, but we're in like Acts, I don't know, 21, I think now.
We are.
But as we're going through Acts, we're kind of, it's still the story of Jesus. It's the story of Jesus, but it's the story of his early church, of the body that he left behind and how they function, right? And how they're doing things. It's the story of it. Now, when you go through the epistles, which is a lot of the rest of the New Testament, those are letters. A lot of those letters are written by Paul. Some are written by John, Peter, whatever. But they're letters to those churches. And so they're kind of he's writing those letters throughout the events of Acts, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of a separate kind of commentary and instruction that's to these churches. In Acts, we're watching the actual action that's taking place of him planting it. Does that make sense? So we've been dealing with that. Today we're gonna break from the story part, at least the story part in Acts. Now, this is the name of this podcast is Todd's World. What did we start? Like 3 years ago now, almost, Carrie?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think.
Just feel like we've
think we
always
started-
done this. Yeah. No, I think it is. I think it is 3 years ago.
It feels longer.
And we started with stories, some of which are coming out. We're going to re-release Insurrection and Witness and get back to those, and that's exciting. And then decided that format wasn't working. And a couple years ago, we came up with the Wildly Opinionated News Hour and Beers with Jesus. and it's worked. Well, we started with Beers with Jesus, which was really started for the first 6 months to be a conglomeration of the two. We do about 45 minutes of
Yeah,
news
that's true.
and 45 minutes of Jesus, and we thought maybe we should split these up. So we split
It
them
was a
up. We
bit
got
much for
wildly.
some people.
Well, there was people who felt like, I would share beers, but I'm not sure I want to share all the political views with
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
anyway, Trevor's been around, I think, since the beginning. Trevor is our cousin, so of course he's been around us forever. But
You can call me Cousin Trevor.
also been a supporter of the podcast forever, I think. Almost
Thank
since
you
the
so
beginning.
much.
And so he's been fabulous. And he's been on a few times. Whether it was Beers with Jesus or News, I don't remember. But anyway, a couple different times you were on. So you're not a stranger to the format.
No.
But Todd's World, as the title says, was centered around my writing, my experience, my world to some
Your
extent.
world, yeah.
So you get a lot of what I think. I'm pretty open, pretty authentic with what's going on. I don't tell everybody everything all the time, but if I struggle with cancer, you're gonna know about it at some point. I try to be pretty open with everything.
Yeah.
Well, so this is kind of a continuation. This started all in 2020. I wrote a book called Leaves That Blew Away, and it was a memoir on my life. It was after that I'd finished this book that I thought, how am I going to promote it? And then I started a podcast, and then that morphed. We did some different things, kind of learned what I was doing for a couple years, and then that morphed into what became Todd's World. And so in Leaves That Blew Away, you're getting my story, and this is still kind of a continuation of my story. And so what we're going to discuss today is part of my story that's happened in the last, I don't know, 3-4 weeks sometime. And it involves my church. And there's nothing wrong with my church. It's just not, but I think it's instructive and there could be things to learn from it. And I'm not one of those people who overlays things with a bunch of qualifiers. Okay. My church is a little nebulous. I'm not all that involved. My kids are more involved, but I like to go and I like to see Kate lead worship, and I like to see Brandon play guitar, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just kind of generally go. I'm not involved. I did broach him about starting a small group and was summarily shot down as promoting unapproved curriculum, I guess. I wanted to use Mark, and they don't like the book of Mark, I guess, but who knows?
They
That's
weren't into that.
Have you heard of that, Trevor? Yeah. Trevor is a worship leader, right? And has been at quite a few different churches, right?
Yeah.
Like for, I don't know, on and off. I don't know, since
For
a
a
long
long
time,
time.
right? I don't know how
Yep.
long. Seems like as long as
Probably
you've
20
been
years, maybe.
graduated or had kids and whatever. So
Mhm.
so you have the perspective of actually being involved in leadership. Right now you're at a global Methodist church, right?
And I'm a pastor's kid.
And you're a pastor's kid. That's
Yeah.
right. Your dad was
Yeah.
a pastor of a church for your whole life growing up.
Yeah.
So you have a pretty good perspective on some of this stuff.
I know church business.
And Trevor's known me all his life, so he knows what a problem I am for everyone.
I do know that, yeah.
So I felt like there was a balanced view in there somewhere.
That's fair.
It's a beautiful thing.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
I love that. I love looking at us here right now and thinking about
It's like a
all of
family
our
reunion.
right, but I love our differing the similarities and the differences in our backgrounds,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just thinking
That's
of how
true.
it has all led us here today. It's just
Yeah.
amazing, actually.
Yeah, it should give us some pretty good perspectives. Carrie, of course, is Catholic
I'm a cradle Catholic.
and has been her whole life, and it doesn't get much more institutional than
Right.
Catholics.
I was away from it for a while, but went back to it.
Yeah. But within what we're going to talk about today is
Mhm.
is maybe challenging institutions somewhat. And the Catholic Church is probably the least apt to be challenged. What are you going to do? Call the Pope? You
Right?
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a real solid institutional structure. So in that way, I think Carrie has a good perspective on things too. So, and I'm just out here just being agreeable, I think is fair, right? Like I'm just a
Agreeable?
harmless,
Agreeable, he
lovable little
said.
fuzzball.
Cue the laughter, Trevor. He called himself agreeable.
Wow. I just thought I was in the wrong podcast here.
You thought, wait a minute. Did Mitt Romney take over Todd's body? happened.
Let's not go back there.
That's awesome.
Well, no, I may be a fuzz disagreeable. Actually, I think I got what did I get? Like a one, a one, 1 out of 100 on
Mhm,
this
You
personality test I took.
mhm.
Like they were like, and politeness was one, and politeness wasn't what you would expect. Politeness in this particular test represented kind of your relationship with perceived authorities and institutions, I guess. I know it's kind of a weird way to think of it, but it's not like being polite to somebody. You know what I mean? So, and on a politeness scale, I was 0. So, I think that
Wow.
when it
Well,
comes to my relationships with institutions,
mhm,
perhaps I'm something of a difficult pill to swallow. And that's
Mm.
okay. We've all got our our parts to play, right?
Trevor,
Right.
where are you on
I
those
agree.
sorts of where are you on those sorts of topics? Like, how would you
Personality tests?
How
Sure.
disagreeable are you, Trevor?
Yeah. Are
Or are
you
you
I
generally agreeable, you think?
I
generally
am pretty
agreeable?
much, middle of the road probably.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
We'll see.
Until
You know
until
what?
until it really matters. If it really matters,
At
There you
the
go.
end
then
of this
There you
show,
go.
if you guys remind me, I wanna Carrie, I wanna revisit this and
Okay.
let's decide whether or not where Trevor rates on disagreeableness. I suspect just being part of of my family and our family as I know him, that Trevor's higher on the disagreeable end. Probably not as bad as me, but I think that, we've always come from somewhat of a free thinking
Okay,
family.
gotcha.
Think
yeah,
that's
I think
fair,
so.
Trevor?
Yeah.
You gotta be disagreeable to an extent to be somewhat free thinking.
Yeah, well, if when it comes down to when it really matters, that and then you get triggered, that's when you gotta go full into who you are, you're like, "This is my stance, this is where I'm standing on this issue."
Mhm.
Yeah.
And see, but me, I'm different than you in that if it doesn't really matter to me, I can afford to be a little agreeable. Now, I think you
What are you trying to
it
say?
doesn't matter if it matters to you, you'll always choose the disagreeable.
Well, I don't
Wildly
know that that's
opinionated.
So don't you think so? Oh,
I
come
have a
on.
few opinions, but,
Yeah.
I'll say this, what we're gonna talk about today
Mhm,
is a Facebook video that my church or the pastor of the church that I go to more than I go anywhere else.
mhm.
I'm actually gonna go to the Catholic church, I think, this weekend. My
Incredible.
middle daughter,
Curious?
Lauren
Yep.
no, Lauren is, Nancy's. Lauren is exploring the mysteries of the Church of Rome. So, she's doing the class and the whole thing, and you know what? It's been good for her, she really likes it, and I'm of the opinion that I don't think the Sunday show I don't think God cares what version of the Sunday show you go to all that much. I think if you're
Yeah.
looking for Jesus, you'll find him, and you can find him as well as you can in the Catholic church as you can find him in the evangelical church and wherever else. Like,
Amen.
you can find him you go looking for him, you'll find him, that's what the Bible says, right?
Yeah,
True.
Ask
seeking you shall find.
Yep, that's what I think. So, but, I wanna go with her sometimes and support it, and I've been like, I'm reading a book on the Eucharist, and one of the things Carrie and I have talked about, she would know this, is I don't feel like I've got a great, a real well-developed view on the Lord's Supper and communion. Um,
And it's
other
such a
than I
big deal in my church, so
right.
yeah.
Mm.
So I'm reading that. So
Yeah.
that's something then that has presented me with some they've presented some sides of the issue that I never really thought about. You know what I mean? Contrasted comparing and contrasting it with a Passover meal and some things like that. I I will tell you I'm generally I don't think probably sold on it, but I'm also not through with the book, so let's give the guy time. But you know what I mean?
That's fair.
So anyway, I it doesn't bother me to look into other traditions. It doesn't bother none of that. I Beers with Jesus is completely if you we're about Jesus in the Bible. Like
Mhm,
your particular flavor, I mean, we have our flavors
mhm.
and we acknowledge that and we come to it with that, but that doesn't matter that much. A lot of the times where Carrie and I wind up on things doesn't have all that much to do with Catholic or evangelical or whatever. You know what I mean? We
Right.
just are kind of coming to the Bible and hopefully the Spirit kind of takes it and
Yeah.
it's a little different. We're not preachy about it or whatever. So what happened? I'm going to get us started, guys. And listen, everybody, because this is a more of a personal anecdote, you guys might think that I've got 2 of my Carrie's always with me, now I got my cousin, so I just got a bunch of Homers. But I'm telling you that I think any of these you just heard them, they think I'm disagreeable. There is no approved curriculum on Todd's World. They have carte blanche, they can tell me that I'm the biggest jerk that they've ever met, and God, they wish I wasn't in their church. Anything, they are not gonna I'm not muting any mics.
There's no
This is a wide
censorship in
this is
Catholic.
iron sharpening iron, baby. I don't have any fear of that. So, and that I think is part of my eh, part of my I don't know if complaint's the right
Charm?
word. Well, maybe it's part of my charm.
Part
It's
of
part of my issue with what we're going to be talking about today is
Yeah.
the lack of an appreciation of any kind of dissent or discussion or anything else. So, okay. I think I've properly given everybody enough of an idea where we're going from. So what happened
Mhm.
is church I go to a fair amount. Like I said, I'm not like a member or anything. And this church is called Life West here where I live. And it's a relatively new startup. I'm gonna say like 5, 6 years maybe. Pretty successful, I think, probably within that range. They had, I think, a lot of support from a big mega church here in town. um the pastor of Life West, his dad is the pastor of a big 10,000 person church called Res Life. Good church. I like Res Life too. Been there quite a bit. Um his dad's a really good preacher too. I don't agree with him. In fact, I think what I'm gonna disagree with Sam on today, I think his dad would I've heard his dad say the same thing. This is
Mhm.
a pretty I think a common kind of view of how to contextualize things that I just don't happen to think is correct. But that's okay. People disagree about things. Usually I'm right, but whatever. Um, just kidding, guys. Just kidding. So anyway, I don't pay that all that much attention to things. I don't go to small groups. I don't go to activities. I just don't. I got enough going on. I don't do a lot of that. If other people do, great, fine. That's not my thing. Um, I go to the Sunday show, see my family, leave. Right?
Mhm.
Thought about getting more involved and was shot down. And okay, we don't want to do that. That's fine. I got plenty going on. You know what I mean? So, but a video popped up, and it was a Facebook video, and we're gonna play it. And this guy's name is Sam, so it's Pastor Sam, and he put this video out, and so let's play it, and then I'll tell you what my initial response was, and then we're gonna kind of take it from there. Sound good, guys? Because
Sounds
we
good.
can actually now on this new app, we can actually play things. We can show you the clips.
That's great.
So let's see if we can pull this up here. Boom! Look at that.
Mm,
Isn't that impressive, Trevor?
it's very impressive.
I tell you
It's
what.
fun.
Will it play?
Will it play? That's the
New and
question.
improved
Okay.
Todd's World. All right.
All right. Let's hear what this video popped up, and then I'll tell you what happened after that. How about that?
In a name. East in the Bible is often symbolic of movement away from God and the things of God. If you look at Genesis chapter 3, you get the garden, and Adam and Eve, it says that they left and they went to the east, that an angel was placed on the east side of the garden. They were moving away from the things of God. Genesis 4 is Cain. And when Cain left the presence of God, it says he went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Again, in Genesis chapter 11, the Tower of Babel, as they were traveling east away from God. Genesis 13 talks about Lot leaving Moses. And guess what way he went? He went east. Uh, east so often
East.
symbolizes
You got that?
movement away from God. So life west is actually meant to be similar to what we see in Matthew 2, verse 1, where it says that the wise men came from the east. What way did they go? They went west to find Jesus.
That's
Life west is meant to be a life searching for or in pursuit of God. Not going east, we're going west. We're going to pursue the things God has for us.
okay. You got it?
Is this the first time, Trevor, you've seen this, or did you see this before?
No. Todd sent it to me
Okay.
before.
Okay.
I said, yeah, Trevor was involved.
Okay.
Trevor was involved in the drama. Like
Gotcha.
when I say
I'm so
involved in the
glad you
drama, that
played
you
it.
knew it was going on.
I'm
I
so
did.
glad you played it again because I haven't listened to it since that first time.
What'd you think? Oh, okay. Let's take this. So this was this was the video that I happened. I don't follow their Facebook page, not for any reason. I just, I got a lot going on. And so I got a lot of things that pop up on my Facebook. So, um, what'd you think?
Trevor?
I'll give you my initial reaction. I'm looking at my text to you right now and I right after you sent that to me, I said, everybody needs to have a new take on scripture.
Mhm.
Mm.
The
You know, that
ever
was my initial response. That was my initial thought.
Okay. Felt like he's going for something novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, something kind of just gimmicky, a gimmicky to support the name of the church, just to,
Sure.
oh, this is a cool coincidence, but
Yeah. I mean, does it strike you as true that there's something between the East and that there's anything in the Bible that would in general support the idea that West is better than East?
No, I thought it was kind of funny. It kind of makes me shake my head when you say you have the wise men in the east, but they were going
I
west.
know.
I mean,
it's pretty manipulative, right?
that's when you're kind of you're trying to take at things, you're moving it around
Mhm.
to make it go a certain direction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's certainly a freedom with the text that perhaps not everybody would exercise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, now
I'm trying not to be, like, offended by him, like, kind of I don't think he came from an arrogant place, like, "I know more about scripture than you, and I'm
yeah.
sharing this wisdom with you." It wasn't like that, but I do
No, I
feel
didn't
like
think that.
I do think he didn't really think it through, and maybe he wasn't conscious that he was manipulating it for something novel,
Yeah.
but it just
I mean,
seems
there's something to what Trevor says that everybody, this wasn't obviously you could tell from the video. This wasn't like a sermon. It's not like he's
Mhm.
sitting at church. He's not at the Sunday show, breaking
Right.
forth.
And he's
This
not
was
in an
just
educational setting.
no, this was just Facebook. It was a social media video he did,
Mhm.
I do them too. Just promoting the church, I think is the idea probably more than anything,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I mean, I assume that's what maybe trying to edify the people a little bit, but I think probably mostly it's promotional, put things out there. Maybe somebody sees it and they think, oh, seems like a good church, right?
Mhm.
Hey, maybe that's west of here. Or maybe they live west of here and they're like, I can't go there. That's east of me. I don't know.
Exactly. That's my thoughts.
It all
What is
depends
east
on
and
your
what is west?
location.
Where does it start? How do you know you're going?
Well, okay, so I saw that. We all it's well documented that I'm somewhat of a disagreeable bloke. And I will say this on Facebook, I don't do a lot of commenting and interactions on Facebook. I do far more of that on X. I get all my news from X. All the clips that we play on the Wildly Opinionated News Hour are coming from X. Like I spend a lot more I don't know if I spend more time on X, I just use it differently. Like I use it to comment and to interact and things like that. Facebook, I mostly put the podcast out on. I'll put clips of the podcast out, but I just don't. There is not as much interaction. You know what I mean? On Facebook, I'm not getting called a Nazi. On TikTok, I'm getting called a Nazi. So I like it's nice. I like being called a Nazi.
Oh, I was gonna say it's nice and peaceful on Facebook
It's no.
until a couple weeks ago.
So, but what happens is, are you on X, Trevor?
I do have an account, yes.
You bought a Tesla and you're not. I thought like you had to be an X head to be on.
Well, I'm on. I
Okay,
can.
okay.
I occasionally I do
It's just not your primary.
peruse.
Well, on X, there's a there's a it's just a lot more free flow. Like it's a little bit more rough and tumble. Like you can say things and whatever. Sometimes one of the reasons I don't transition to Facebook that often is because when I do, sometimes I feel like when I look back, I'm coming in a little hot. Like on X, that was fine, but on Facebook, people are like, "Oh my god," you know what I mean? Just they're two different platforms that people relate to differently, and when I'm going back and forth, I don't always make that distinction. So my first comment on this probably was I came in a little hot on. I can't read it to you verbatim because it's gone, but
Oh,
what I recall of
I
it
had oh, go
what I
ahead.
recall of it was that it was somewhere along the line of surely this must be a joke. No one would actually think that there's like this must be something of like a New Year's joke, and I get it. It's kind of funny, whatever. Anyway, I was a little sarcastic. Not horrible, but I probably came in a little hot, a little hotter than you'd come into a church video thing.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah, and there's some tone is lost,
Right.
on a social media comment.
Well, I think my tone made it across. It just wasn't what they were after.
Yeah, like, I heard your ex tone when I read it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you knew.
I was like, "Oh,
So
boy."
what'd
Well, I just
you
thought,
what'd you think, Trevor?
well, if I'm trying to remember our conversations, I'm going back to my little. Okay, I think I said, Todd Allen, how to make friends and influence people. Yeah, that was it. That was my next statement. Yeah.
I think
It's the
that's so right. Trevor's
2026
right there.
edition. That's hysterical.
And no,
Mm.
so that's fair, right? You know what's
Yeah.
funny about that, Trevor, is that Lauren just told me, my daughter Lauren just told me last week. She's like, you know what? I'm reading this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. She's like, I feel like I need more friends.
Ah,
I was like, you want my copy?
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
That's what I was thinking of,
That's
that book there.
That's
funny.
great.
Okay, so that happens. My ex-wife Ronnie goes to this church. We still get along well. We're still close to talk a lot,
Mhm.
whole thing. She lives right down the road. It's not a big deal. Her and Nikki get along fine. Her and Nikki talk probably more than I do. But anyway, um, she comes back and messages me because she had commented on the video too, but I don't remember what hers said. Something
It was
like, I
something
always
about the
wondered
name of the
about that.
church. Yeah, it
Is
was
this why
something.
we named the church this? And they were like, yeah. Okay.
Woo!
Well, so she met private messages me and she's like, I can't believe you said that on there. Yeah. this, this is my ex-wife. I'm like, well, of course, there's probably lots of things you can't believe, right?
Good boy.
So anyway, that didn't end up being anything. And for a couple days, everything just kind of nothing really happened with it. And I thought, no big deal. I thought I probably came in a little hot, but I thought, whatever.
Mhm.
It's a stupid video. So you know what I mean? It's just kind of I
Yeah.
didn't care that much. Like Trevor said, I really didn't care that much.
Mhm.
Other than it tripped my trigger a little bit because it's just so well, listen, it's not just that video. It's that there's a little bit of a loosey-goosey approach to just the Bible in general. You know what I mean? It's just like, if we don't like it, we'll make it say it or whatever. You know what I mean? It just not completely, but just enough that it bugs me. I wouldn't be that loosey-goosey with my scriptural interpretations. Even if they don't matter that much,
Mhm.
because I think it does still matter because it reflects what about the things you say that do matter? How can I trust those? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If I know that you're willing to take such liberties, and I get that everybody takes some liberties with the Bible to some extent. But okay, so that happened. So then a few days go by, 2, 3 days maybe. I kind of forgot about it. I didn't think much about it. I thought, they didn't respond to it. Probably for the best, whatever. I probably came in a little hot. It's all fine, right? Maybe I made a little bit of my point. Maybe nobody cares. Who cares? I got a life to live onward and forward. Then 3 days later, they come back with a comment, a reply to my comment. And the reply for all that was
Wait, wait, Todd, can I tell you something?
yes.
Let me interject. You said 3 days later?
I think 2 or 3. I don't remember. Yeah.
I think 3 is a magical number.
That must have been
Now,
3.
Jesus was in the grave. Okay, never mind. Let's not go
I
there.
think you found it.
Continue.
You found the thread.
It's a novel take, isn't it?
It's like Rob Bell over here. Love wins.
Oh my gosh.
Oprah
Thank
told
you.
me.
Thank
Um, so okay, so they reply back and it's no, it's definitely not a joke. There's definitely and they kind of essentially again, I can't read everybody it because it's gone.
Mhm.
Okay? It's
Mhm.
and you this will make sense here in a minute why it's gone. So they come back with a reply and it's somewhere along the lines of they kind of just doubled down and said, "No, it's not a joke. A joke would have been funnier and shorter." And I thought, "Okay, that's fair." and, um, and it really is. And then he kind of went through and he did almost the same 3 examples, like Eden
Mhm.
when they got cast out, Cain, and then I think he threw in on the reply, so and you know what I'm saying? I don't know that it's Sam who was replying to this Facebook thing. Could be anybody for all I know. I have no idea who's running Life West Facebook, okay? And so
Maybe
whoever.
it's the guy who wanted you to lower your hands praising in church.
Did you hear about that, Trevor, or not?
I did not. I missed that
Sorry.
one.
Side quest, you gotta tell him. That's such a great story.
I was I go to church. I raise my hands at church during worship. You know, it's a Pentecostal church, and
Yeah.
I'm down for the struggle with everybody else. I worship God. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, I would tend to sit in the same place, and I'm kind of a big guy. Raise my hands kind of tall. You know, I'm not passive about it. I stick them right up. I got a question, and I was there early one week, and I'm sitting there because Kate, I think, was doing worship. And so I got there earlier and I was talking to her for a little bit. And then I'm sitting, it's 10 minutes before the service. And this sound guy comes up to me. It was AV guy. I didn't know him. I don't know a lot of people, but comes up to me and he says, "Man, you're just so big. Every time you put your hand up like that, it's right in the middle of the worship's leader face for live stream. Like, can you go like 3/4 with your hands?"
That's awesome.
Which I mean, you know what? Maybe that's kind of fair. I thought it was really funny. You know what I mean? But to be fair, I have thought about it since, and there's been times I moved down, where I'm a little bit more in the middle of the road, not on the end, or I do if I'm in the same spot, I keep them down because I don't want to mess up their live
Well,
stream.
as a worship leader, if you had your hand in my face, I'd probably look back, and if I want to hear it, and I'd probably be a little offended too,
That
Todd.
guy.
Well, yeah. So
That hand right there.
Todd, what
thought
I
it was
think you
kind of
should do is do a 180 and be like, "Woo!" Like, like photo bombing the live stream since now you know where it's aimed.
Do you have a new seat now or no? No,
Well,
same seat?
I like I said, if I'm sitting in the same seat, I do keep them down a little bit. I wasn't offended by that. I really did think it was funny, and it was funny kind of on the heels of, last year them telling me, "No, you're no community group for you, unapproved curriculum."
Yeah.
Okay. And then they'd watch this and think, "Yeah, we were right." But, um, but I thought, that's a fair thing. I don't wanna mess up their live stream. They're sending it out there, my big hands in the dude's face, and our worship leader, I think, does a pretty good job. I'm not a worship professional guy like you are, Trevor, but there's things that annoy me about it, but I think the things that annoy me also create space for stuff to happen that is real, and it just doesn't happen all the time. And so, if it lands 25% of the time where you really enter worship, then maybe, it's probably worth it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't, like I said, I don't know how worship leaders and things think about it all. But I think
So
they do a pretty good job of ushering us. I feel like ushering us into worship.
so I'm
Mhm.
gonna get you back on track because
Yeah.
I totally derailed you, but you were saying you're not sure if he's the one who
Oh yeah, yeah. Who
updates
knows?
the
I mean,
content.
it seems like to me this would be I mean, I don't know. As the
I'm
story
sure he's
goes on, Trevor,
salted.
If it
Yeah.
if it took 3 days, he's had to be the one that
you think so?
they probably went to him and say, "You I usually respond for you, but what do you think?
Yeah, you think that's what happened?
Stick with it."
Yeah, from your experience in leading churches, Trevor, you don't think that it would be in a vacuum. You don't think that that
I don't think so, but,
who knows?
we're in different churches, this is, our church is more of a small, 200 people.
Yeah,
It's not how many you guys got a bigger church, they have more people that are
I
assigned
I
to do different roles.
I bet they have 300 a service, maybe. So maybe
Yeah,
600 people coming on a Sunday.
but they might have more people on staff, I'm sure.
They
They're
probably
assigned to
they probably do have some people on staff, and so yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. Like
We have
that's
a
what
lot
I
of
say.
cross-pollinating ideas and stuff,
Right. So
responsibilities.
anyway, they come back, and it's like it just annoyed me because I felt like it wasn't. It was just doubling down on everything. You know what it is? Like I say, I don't have it. This will become clear why in a minute, but um, it came off a little patronizing. Came
Yeah,
off a little bit.
remind us the
It,
reply.
it was just like, I mean, thanks for the trip through the Bible app, but because I had said, that's right. I said a basic trip through the Bible app would show you that, um, all these things that completely the east and west have east. If you're going east, you're going towards God. There's all. It doesn't matter is the point in the Bible. East, west, north, south are just directions, but none of them are more holy than the other. And I made a few points on that, and I felt like they were bodying me a little. And I don't know if you know what that means. I used to play basketball. Trevor probably used to play basketball, and it's like you're fighting for position a little bit down low, right? You're just kind of bodying somebody a little, working for position. It's not like a big thing. It's not like you're following them. It's not like you're throwing them to the ground or anything. It's just kind of bodying up a little, right? A little Rick Mahorn action. So the Bad Boys reference.
Aw.
So anyway, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the end of the world, but I thought, okay. And then I decided to really reply, not like a little snarky reply this time. And one can question whether or not I should have done this, and we'll talk about that. But let's, you know what I should do is, because in my reply is a little bit long. I'm going to read it for people. And then there's other things beyond this I want to get into as far as the impacts that kind of stretch out from this beyond just this personal thing. We got to start with the personal thing to figure it out. But once we get past that, I want to kind of widen out and try to think, okay, what is appropriate? How should churches be in a social media era? You know what I mean? Because I do think some things have changed. Okay, but I want to play this. This is a clip. And the only reason I'm playing this was the week before this is part of a message from a week before, because I reference it in my reply. So I want you to understand what I'm talking about when I say it. Okay. So it's not like I'm just now, oh, I got a fun 20 seconds on the front of this too.
Okay.
I couldn't resist
Oh
when I
boy.
was clipping this.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not bad, Carrie. What are you worried about?
I'm bracing myself for the reply because I've read it.
Oh, but this is kind of fun.
Okay.
I couldn't not put this in. The sound quality isn't that great, but how about that girl in the tan sweater? That's my girl, man.
Awesome. She's awesome. Aw. Aw.
I love it. And look at the guy behind her playing guitar.
Oh,
My brother-in-law. Look at him go.
that's cool.
They do so good.
Now that guy in the front row, his hand is right in the kid's face. Is he a drummer or is he on a keyboard or something?
So anyway, I put that in just for fun. I'm so proud of my girls all the time. I love them. Lauren's out there doing her singer-songwriter thing, and Kate's singing in church. And I love watching Brandon up there playing guitar. When Cooper comes, he doesn't, he's at Western now, but he'll come back sometimes and play drums, and it's just fun. I just love it. Like I say, the worship team really, I think, does a good job.
Love that.
Josh is the guy's name, and I think he does a pretty good job.
A lot of music in the family. It's so cool.
Yeah. Look at Trevor. Okay, so now this is the portion of the message I'm talking about, and we're talking about we're stepping in. The context really doesn't matter, because he's about to say this is a bit of a rabbit trail. So the context all around this doesn't matter. This is just the little rabbit trail. Okay. And that's what I kind of reference, just so everybody knows.
I don't have sound.
Uh-oh, hold on.
Okay.
You don't have sound either, Trevor?
No.
Oh, hold on. This is my fault. Sorry, guys.
I was just waiting a second because I thought maybe it's just about to catch up.
No, I'm going to stop sharing this for 1 second, and I'm going to bring it back up, because there's a thing I got to click. I forgot. I usually don't share on a screen like this, and I have to separately click to share the audio.
Okay.
So, okay,
cool.
We'll try this again. And you should have sound now. I'm going to back it up just a little. Okay.
We just read this in First Samuel, so we have to take a little bit of a rabbit trail. But we just
yes,
First Samuel.
Excellent.
I can't read it and then not address it. But First Samuel 16:23. Here's what we just read. And whenever the tormenting spirit from God troubled Saul. Now, when I read that line right there, it says that a tormenting spirit is from God. That doesn't sit with my understanding of who God is. And so when I read that, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Now, understand this. My understanding, and here's what I mean when I say that. The first law of hermeneutics, which is really just how we're supposed to study the Bible, says you interpret Scripture with Scripture, that the Bible's not going to disagree with itself. So you have places in the Bible where it says every good and perfect gift comes from above, that Jesus came to give life and life to the fullest, and the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Well, if this is stealing, killing, or destroying, then wouldn't it be this from the devil? Why does it say that a tormenting spirit from God? And again, anytime something comes up that I'm reading, I'm like, wait a second, it doesn't line up with the rest, it doesn't flow with the rest of Scripture. What I do is I go to the original language, which in this case is Hebrew. And I'm like, wait a second, what is up with this verse? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So here's what I want to point out to you. In this verse, it says again, and whenever the tormenting spirit from God, and in my translation, and probably your translation as well, God is capitalized, troubled Saul. Well, that word God is the Hebrew word Elohim. And it's translated as God, capital G, but it's also translated as majesty or God, little g. There's several other places it's used in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in Hebrew as well. If you want to look this up for yourself, it's Strong's number 430. You can find all the places that this is used. And please do, because please don't be like, well, Pastor Samuel said it. No. Be like, this is what God's word says, so I know it. But here's two other places that same word is used.
You don't get that in the
but
Catholic
it's
Church.
translated differently. Again, we're talking about the word for God. In Psalms 96, verse 5, it says, for all the gods, little g, of the peoples are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Deuteronomy 32:17. They sacrificed to demons, not to God, big G, but to God's little g, they did not know. The Bible talks about the devil as the God, little g, of this world. And when I look at that verse, it does not fit with a capital G in with the rest of Scripture and the picture that it paints about who God is. So I believe that that word God should have been translated the same word, but it should have been a little g, that the evil spirit was from the God of this world. Because our Heavenly Father says he gives good gifts to those who ask. He gives good gifts. Like Scripture, it's all there. If we need to go back, we can. So again, that number, if you want to look that up for yourself, is 4.
Okay. That was it. Did you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on page. That is, I know it doesn't matter right this second. You're like, okay, so.
No, I
Right.
see where you're going with it.
Okay. So that was, sorry. I'm gonna pull that down. Hey, I'm gonna give, so now I'm gonna give you my reply to the Facebook reply, and then we're gonna talk about what came after that. Carrie,
Mhm.
when we read that, when we've done news, now that we've been able to share clips,
Mhm.
is there any value to having the script up as I'm reading, or no?
Um,
Because I can put it up. I don't know. Like I did that with that article the other day when we were reading, but I don't know. I always am reading it. So
right. I was gonna say
you
it
know what
just
I mean?
just depends on the person watching this, like their processing. Like it
Yeah.
can be helpful. I don't know
Because
if
I can easily put up about what I'm about to read. And so that was why I was asking. Maybe I will if I can
Yeah.
if I can find it.
just a
That'll be
preference
just
thing.
a little bit easier, you know. Let's do this. Jeez. I like that. Sorry guys.
Are
I
we able
lost
to
you for a
pause 1
second.
second while you
Yeah, you want to
do that?
pause?
Can we?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Awesome.
And we're back. All right. And I've got it up. I've got my response up. If anybody cares to read, I don't know whether people care or they don't care. Okay. I'm going to read through my response. So I got a response back that kind of doubled down on things, what we talked about. I played you the other clip and it's going to come in here. Okay. So here's my response to that. Like I said, it was kind of long. The problem is there is no general symbolism regarding East and West in the Bible. You only find it when you go looking for it. You bring the idea with you to the Bible, then search for verses, often pulled completely out of context, proving the idea you've already brought along for the ride. Then you end up defending positions that are indefensible. all while there is more than enough crystal clear, unarguable biblical truth and teaching to keep us busy for a lifetime of learning and applying to our lives. But everyone wants an original idea, a novel theory to impress the folks. I stole from you, Trevor. How do you like that?
I liked it. Yeah.
Complete and utter plagiarism. take take the 3 proof texts used. So these are the proof texts in his reply I told you about.
Mhm.
Adam and Eve moved east of Eden post-fall. Cain lived in no man's land east of Eden, and Joshua and the people of God moved west to cross the Jordan and march around Jericho. Personally, I think to argue anything from a literal interpretation of the first chapters of Genesis is a fool's errand on par with trying the same trick with Revelation. But for the sake of the discussion, let's hang out in biblical poetry literal land. Maybe we'll get a fig leaf skirt to wear on the rides. Okay, that might have been a little sarcastic. That was the only one I left in. I just thought it was too much fun.
Yeah, there's a little snark right there. Hold on, I wanna read this part that you said about the revelation. Par with trying a trick with revelation. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. In other words, I don't think that you can look at the first, like, to take a literal thing out of it, and a literal thing meaning which direction they moved.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just not sure that the real first chapters of the Bible and the last chapters of the Bible are really meant for that kind of literalism. It just
Mhm.
doesn't strikes to me that it's more in the poetry myth. That doesn't mean I don't believe Adam and Eve were real. It just means the way that the whole story is presented doesn't seem to me like something that the literal details are what's important about it as much as the theme of the story. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe you agree with that, maybe you don't. But that's where I come from on it. Okay. So then I go on. Without any actual maps of the Garden of Eden, it's hard to know. But it must have been a pretty big place, right? Adam had to fit the animals in there to name them all in one 24-hour day, after all. This is, again, that part of taking things literally. So it was big. If God kicked Adam and Eve out of the eastern entrance to Eden, it's not unreasonable to assume that the known human world for a long time post-fall was entirely east of Eden. If they couldn't get into Eden, there would be no way for them to go west of Eden. Ditto Cain. Does that make sense?
Of course.
You would have actually, you could make the argument, I didn't in this, that all of our world is east of Eden,
Mm.
right? Like the John Steinbeck novel. Like all of our world is east of Eden. Whatever that means. Again, I don't think it's a literal type of thing, but
I bet that, kind of competitive debate angle, and I mean debate as in, like competition, like the sport, if you
yeah.
will, the art of it. I'm sure that pissed them off.
You think so?
Yes,
Why?
because 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 you're arguing it from a winning position. They're probably like,
Oh,
"Ugh, like, damn it. Like, there's nothing
this
I
is
can say to that."
it's
Mm.
what exactly what I'm talking about, which
I
is they
know.
put themselves in indefensible positions and then try to defend them.
Yeah.
And then get mad at me for saying that's an indefensible position.
And then pull it off.
Right.
Take it down.
Okay, let's continue. Okay. As for Joshua and the children of Israel moving west across the Jordan to Jericho, it's true. Once they finally got to the promised land, the Israelites moved in all kinds of different directions. What cannot be disputed is that the foundational story of the entire Old Testament was the Exodus, and the whole journey from Egypt to Israel was all moving east. Okay.
Yeah.
The entire thing was east, moving east. Once again, defending the indefensible. There's no need for some general principle of east and west in the Bible. There's certainly no need to fabricate one, because if you're willing to fabricate that, how do we know what other liberties you're willing to take with the Bible for the sake of your own preconceived notions? Does that make sense?
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear. Okay.
Mhm.
For example, 1 Samuel 16. Now, this is where the clip I just played. So I didn't want people to think I was just pulling it out of the air. The Spirit of God leaves Saul. In its place, an evil spirit from the Lord afflicts him. Just for repetition's sake, the text tells us again whenever the Spirit from God came on Saul. So it repeats it twice in the same short period. This would seem straightforward unless you already know that God can't send evil spirits because, well, just because. God's cool like that, I guess. What then do we do with the clear text of the scripture? We just say it's wrong on account of the Hebrew. That's always a good one to wheel out because how many people actually know ancient Hebrew? Well, probably every biblical translator who translated First Samuel over the last 2,500 years knew Hebrew pretty dang well. And all of them translated it the same way. But for the sake of an idea that we know must be true, we throw them all under the bus and retranslate a 2,500-year-old religious text on the fly, live on stage at the Sunday show. It's reckless. And again, it's unnecessary. It's the soil from which ridiculous propositions like God never wants us to be sick spring forth and confuse the flock.
They do.
Rightly dividing the word of God is serious business. It should be taken seriously. Okay. So there's my response. What do we think? Was it too much? Maybe it's too much for a Facebook comment thread. I don't know.
I don't
What
know. I mean, how do you think you should handle it? I mean, how would you have handled it if you were on the other end? Would you have talked to the person? I mean, you've obviously know the pastor, right? You've spoken with him. He's greeted you and
Yeah, we aren't like
small
buddies.
talk.
He knows
I
who
know, but
you are.
he knows who
Yeah.
you are. He knows you
Yeah.
got your daughter up there and your
Sure.
brother-in-law. Well, why wouldn't he come to you if he didn't want it to be a war of posts? Why didn't he just come and say, I saw your post and then talk to you about it? And then maybe he could have like saved some face, instead of digging his heels in, and now he's got to go in that direction because he's already started. You know what?
Yeah. Well, do you think that here's a question, and this is something that was posed to me again. Some of the criticism I got on it, the only person who really said anything to me is my ex-wife. Can you imagine your ex-wife being willing to criticize you, Trevor? I don't think
We're
it
not
never
going there.
happens. Anyway, Ronnie's great. I don't have a problem with Ronnie, but she said it was my spirit. My spirit was a problem in this. What do you think? Was my spirit a problem?
I mean, we know you. It's
Was
like,
the spirit from Todd and not from God? What is going on?
okay, your spirit in what instance? In the first initial response?
No,
Or
this
in
one.
in
This
this
one.
one?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's kind of inviting it, isn't he? Didn't he?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, if you're engaging on it,
He
then
was yeah, you got to be careful if you invite that kind of platform to, the criticism on that platform. I mean, it's like,
and we have to remember this wasn't even a message, although I would argue that a message is done in public. This was a social media post. It was made for social media. It's put out all over the internet. I would think that if you have issues with a social media post, it's reasonable to take it up on social media. Am I wrong in that?
well,
And not
like I said,
personally, I'm not personally attacking anybody. I'm not. He's great.
I think
Sincere.
I think your first reply, I think, probably was necessary because he put that out there, and you're just saying, "Hey, wait a minute, there's another side of this." I think you're just trying to interpret it for a novel idea, and
Yeah.
so I thought that was necessary. Okay, because if you would have talked to him privately about it, he would have said, "Oh, okay, I get your point," and then, but would he ever go and correct himself and say, "Hey, this
It
is a
never
little
would have
stretch."
filtered through publicly, and it
He
was a
would not have
public.
done that.
Right. That makes sense. That's what I thought.
But he could have come to you. I mean, that's where maybe behind the scenes you guys could have talked, and maybe he could have like come with a different attitude about, well, and maybe you would have even got a thank you. Thank you, Todd. I didn't come at it
I
from that
barely get
direction.
thank yous.
And so it could have been totally different.
Big
I'm
Mike
with
never
you
calls me to
100%.
thank me either.
Yeah. No, Trevor, I'm 100% with you on this. I feel like is he the head pastor?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like a head pastor would say, "Thank you for this. This is some interesting thing. This is interesting to think on. We should meet and talk through some of this in person." That would have been an
Yeah.
appropriate response.
Okay.
I like that.
But given the response they gave, you think that me responding in kind on social media is okay? Or is it
Well,
not?
I thought it was an invitation. I believe me. I think that was kind of an invitation to keep it
That's what
going.
I thought.
Mm.
you know what I thought is when I told our old buddy Will, my my best friend Will,
Oh, yeah.
I told he of course knew what was going on, and I told him I was like, so they replied to me, and he was like, oh my god, why can't they leave well enough alone?
He knew what was
He's
coming
like,
next.
that was a mistake. So yeah,
Right.
Will would have known what was coming. I didn't
Um,
think that I was that bad, was I? Or did you think that I was too confrontational? What do you think? I mean, I guess I think we live in a confrontational culture, but then when it comes to church, everybody's like shiny, happy people holding hands. Like, so I don't know. You know what I mean? What's appropriate anymore? Are we not supposed to ever criticize? Is there no like teaching and admonishing one another? Is that like not part of it? Does the teaching and admonishing all go one way, stage to
Right.
chairs with
Well, I
people
think
whose
it
hands are
was
raised too high?
I'm
I
gonna let
think
Trevor
force was met
reply and
with
then
equal force, right?
Yeah.
Oh, say that again.
Force was met with equal force. I mean, I can't remember exactly how they replied to you, but in the fact that they did, it was kind of wasn't there kind of a little snarkiness towards you as well?
I
I
felt
mean,
like that.
and so it's like this force is gonna, calls for this type of a response, and then this one's gonna be this type of, and it's just all gonna escalate until, nuclear war.
Mutually assured
Okay, that's a
destruction.
little strong, but
No,
mutual
but
destruction.
but Trevor, no, the point you've made the point, and that is that right now our culture on social media allows us, for better or worse, to say what's on our mind. And you say his response was invited. Well, it's like just if you're on social media and that's the culture, then that's how it's going to go. Now, you or the pastor or the church, online moderator, whoever it is,
Mhm.
one or both of you should have said, "We don't want to do this online."
Oh, you think so?
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
think so. I
Because
what do you
here's
I don't agree with that. Well,
okay.
clearly I did it.
Yeah, I know. But when I read your response, your second one,
Yes,
I
the one
thought
we just read.
the one you just read, I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Todd never engages, like, with strangers online. Why would he engage like this in such a confrontational manner with the church where he goes, where his family goes, where people
It's
know
precisely
everybody?"
those things that made me wanna engage. It's because it's an error that is rife throughout this church. Now listen.
Well, I
I
thought it was
agree
interesting that
with
you
what you're
said,
saying. Yeah, go
well,
ahead.
he's Todd's coming at I think you're coming at it with the focus that iron sharpens iron, right?
Yes.
And you're thinking that this kind of discourse can make him better and make the church better, right?
Hopefully all of us better, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I
agree
think
with that.
that's right.
I don't think
And
he
I
should
think
have held his tongue and just let the guy go and
right.
pretend
Well,
that this symbolism exists.
you see that, but the people in authority don't think that you should be able to do that, though. And I think that's what Todd's kind of taking up this position.
Well,
That's what I'm running into.
I thought the whole point of him playing that clip was because Pastor Sam said, "Look it up for yourself and use scripture to interpret scripture." And I'm like
Yeah.
thinking, I thought that's where you were going with it, that
No.
he basically opened the door like, "Hey, do this. Don't
Now
just take my
they
word
don't want to
for
be
it."
challenged. They don't
Well,
want to be challenged.
clearly not public on a public
Even though
forum.
they say they do, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Look it up, see if it's the same. Well, I would say one clue in his whole thing on how God versus little g versus big G was translated, one clue would be that both of the examples where they were little g's, they were both plural. So
Right.
that would be a
Yeah.
pretty good indication that we're
Mhm.
talking about idols or worldly
Yeah.
gods, whatever,
Right.
right?
Thank you,
And
Todd, for pointing that out. See,
and
that's
that
all you have to do, right?
and that both of the others in this first Samuel, it's from God and God. And listen, this is a thread that runs through this kind of strain of Pentecostalism. And
Okay.
and when I said God doesn't want us, never wants us to be sick, they would say that. That's been said from the pulpit.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is it's close to a doctrine with them. I don't know how you define doctrine exactly. But
Well,
this
that's
is
kind of an important thing to understand about where they're
that's
coming from.
This is a
That's
whole
why I
nother
wanted
podcast,
you
actually.
that's why I wanted you to understand when I'm confronting this, it's not him per se. What I'm trying to confront is this entire thing that I think stems from misinterpreting and lacking all context and taking some reckless positions with the Bible, and then it feeds into other things. And I'm not even saying that I believe in healing. I've been to the healing services. It's not that I'm anti any of that, but the idea that God never wants us to be sick is crazy. I just how could a person live in this world and think such a thing?
It's harmful too.
It is
Well, I
harmful.
don't think he
It's the reason
wants
that
us I don't think he wants us to be sick, but they're saying
well,
that
let me
okay,
take it a step further.
clarify.
They would say that that sickness is from the devil. How about that? Does that help?
Mm.
It's an attack from the devil.
Okay.
Now, I suppose it could be an unwitting attack, or it could be that you're in sin, or it could be a lot. There's a lot of different ways that you could go with that. Um, I don't believe that. Well, I mean, there's obvious examples of why that wouldn't be true.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Elisha,
I think
Elisha was
some of it
sick,
is and some
and it
isn't.
says it was a sickness from which he was going to die. We don't have any idea that Elisha. Everybody gets sick. Is the
Yeah,
thing.
right, I was gonna
It's
say.
just
But can we just clarify? I don't wanna get in the weeds. I know
go
it's not
ahead.
the
Yeah.
point of this conversation, but you're not saying that God makes us sick, though?
Me,
Yeah.
he could send sickness at times, just like he could send an evil spirit. Sure. He absolutely has there's multiple cases in the Bible where it talks about Paul now this could some they would might say this wasn't a sickness, but Paul's thorn in the flesh. It said it was given to him by God because of these amazing revelations he had, right?
Mm,
He's carried up into the third heaven and all these
interesting.
things. But
Okay.
God gave him a thorn in the flesh to keep him humble. Paul prayed for that, and then we're talking about Paul who raised Eutychus from the dead, right?
Mhm.
Who's touching handkerchiefs and they're going out and healing people. Paul prayed 3 times that God would take this thorn in the flesh away, and God said, "No,
Right.
my grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in
Mm,
weakness." So I think we have to believe that there's times in our life where now you could say God allows it, but I'm not sure what the difference is sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, did he send Job's sickness? He allowed Job's sickness. What's the from Job's standpoint, what
I was gonna
exactly
say,
is the difference?
I feel like those are 2 different things. That's the distinction I was trying to make here
Yeah.
because it's not something I've really thought about, but if someone said, "Oh, you know, do you think, for example, you got cancer because of, God gave it to you?" And it's like, "No, what I believe is things happen and God can make something beautiful out of anything with
But what
you
they
having the right
Yeah.
spirit about it."
what
There's
stinks
go ahead.
Go ahead, Trevor. I think you're gonna be right.
Well, there's also in the New Testament, when people were mishandling the Eucharist, when they were the Lord's Supper,
Mhm.
Mhm.
I believe Paul says that's the reason many because they were taking it and making it something that it wasn't. They were abusing
Okay.
it,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and he said that's the reason that many of you are sick
and
and
dying,
and,
yeah.
and dead
Oh,
among your
wow.
congregation.
Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
And I think what you'd have to realize is that in this particular strain of Pentecostalism, that God never wants us to be sick leads to God always wants you to be healed. And if God always wants you to be healed, and if you're not healed, there's a problem with your faith. The problem is never on God's part, the problem is on your part.
Okay. I
Okay.
see the danger in that.
And that leads to really crazy places. It leads to um, people having kids that are sick that need to go to the hospital, and they say, "No, God's in the process of healing them. They don't need to go to the hospital." It
Mm,
can take you to those kinds of places, and that's why I think it's dangerous. Is
gotcha.
it's not balanced. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think too, saying that God does want us all to be healed, but it doesn't it's not our definition.
Yeah.
God healing us can have a different definition here on earth as well as after we are saved, like after death. We have
Right.
complete healing with God, and He wants that for all of us, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's here.
Right. I agree with
If I
that.
can say that.
100%. I mean, otherwise, who could live life and not think that and read the Bible and look at the life of Christ and not think that suffering is one of the largest, strongest storylines.
Mm.
You know what I
And
mean?
yeah, and just think if God gave us the gift of healing all the time, I mean, we would be living here on this earth forever, and that wouldn't be good of God. It would
Right.
Right.
be It'd be cruel because
Right.
we
We're attached to it, but it's not where we
death is
wanna
not
live
death to
forever.
us
It'd
is
be like a
different.
vampire.
Death to God is a reuniting, we're
Yes.
reuniting with him and his spirit. So that's and when my mom died, and I'm sure Todd, you too, we prayed for healing, right? I mean, we
Oh,
prayed for healing, and
prayed for healing hard.
I remember the song I sung at my mom's funeral was "God, you are good." I cry out for
Mhm.
your hand of mercy to, and I was praying for healing, and she was healed, just like you said, Carrie. That's a beautiful thing, but
Not in the way
it
we were
wasn't.
praying for.
Yeah, it wasn't
Right.
this earthly healing, she was in no more pain, she was no more suffering,
Mm.
she was with the Lord, and that's great for her, that's and we'll be reunited, so totally agree with you that I mean, but the gift of healing, it wouldn't be merciful if God just said, "Okay, healed, healed,
Yeah.
healed." I mean,
Right.
it's just not realistic, and then but people that's why it's harmful, yeah, another reason.
Do you so why I felt like this was first of all, it was presented. Everything was it wasn't even a message clip. It was like a Facebook video.
Mhm.
And so it's very public and it's very out there. And then I did bring up something that was in a message that is just another example of what in my opinion was the same exact thing at play, which was just this just something of a reckless approach to interpreting the Bible.
Mhm.
And and it can have problems. You're right, it's not a problem all the time. I don't know if it was even a problem necessarily in these two instances, other than it undermines the confidence on everything else that you say. Does that make sense?
Right. I mean, it could damage his credibility if anyone with discernment is watching this and really thinking critically about it. Be like, well, that that isn't supported throughout Scripture, and also, there are, like you mentioned, Revelation being symbolic. The other the other books of the Bible are, I mean, we believe them literally. So if you start just throwing in all this symbolism wherever it suits you, is I don't know. It's a strange lens to be reading scripture through.
Well, it's like going to it's what I said, it's coming to the Bible. And listen, the Pentecostals aren't the only ones who do this. I grew up with Baptists and they did it on different subjects, but in the same way, where they knew something was true. So they came to the Bible already knowing something's
Mhm.
true, and then they figure out why. And I that to me is just that isn't God isn't your pet monkey. As soon as you start the music, he puts on the cap and starts dancing. That's just not how this thing works. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So that's what bugged me about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I addressed it the way that I did and why I did it on public forum. Also, I don't think anybody cares. I think Trevor's right. In private, I'd get some stupid email that was like, "Oh, we really love you. You should come join the dream team." Okay. So instead, here's what happens.
So here's what happened instead. Instead of "Thank you, Todd."
No,
Instead of
thank you,
any
Todd.
kind of engagement at all,
Mhm.
next thing I know, I thought, I wonder if it'll take a few days, if they'll respond, if they won't respond. Yeah, I didn't know. Maybe somebody will reach out to me privately or who knows, right?
Mm.
Um, I said what I said. I wasn't that worried about it. But next thing I know, something pops up and I go to like it looked like there might have been a response or I got some kind of a notification on Facebook. My Facebook's been hacked for the last week. So this was back when I had Facebook. But I got some kind of a notice.
Maybe it's because of this.
Yes. Holy cow. They put their professional hacking team on. Um,
Their
so
audiovisual guy. Hacked
he's
into
like, "I'll teach this guy." Um, oh, that's so great. I forgot even what I was saying. No, he said, so in other words, I got some little whatever I got. I went to it and I clicked it to see if there's anything, and then nothing. It was like content. There's no content here or something. I thought that's kind of weird. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a heavy Facebook user other than I put a lot of clips up and I promote the podcast on it a lot. That's what I do
Mhm.
on Facebook. And then I use it for my work too. I put like freshwater builder videos up and things. That's what I do. And then I use the community pages and put them out. And that's how we get a lot of our work. So anyway, but there was nothing there. And I thought, that's weird. I didn't know at first why. I just knew that I couldn't see anything. And like, I couldn't even go back to the video to look at it and see, you know what I mean? If somebody had said anything, if somebody else had commented, I had no idea. Well, then I said something to Nikki about it later that night because she's a little more familiar with Facebook than I am. And she's like, yeah, they blocked you. So she gets on and they deleted all my comments. The first one, their reply, the second one, and blocked me from their Facebook page. So that was the response by the church to me. So that's and listen, I've been back to the church. Nobody says anything. Whatever, it's all fine. That was the extent of the story.
They didn't block you in real life.
No, nobody tried to tackle me. So nothing was said. It's fine. I didn't expect anything to be said. So that's so what do you think of that? Now that we put the whole package together, that's people why I can't tell you exactly what the original comments were because they're gone. They were disappeared.
Should
I
have screenshot.
I was adiosed, like one of Hillary Clinton's business partners. Boom.
Dang.
Scary.
That is.
Vince Foster over here. What do you think? Any opinions on
What do you think, Todd?
on that, Trevor?
Trevor, sorry.
I thought I was kind of
that's what
shocked
you do.
when you told me. I was shocked when you told me because wow, that's just kind of a coward's way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You block.
It felt like that.
If you were correct in your position and you were confident about it, why would you take it down? That's why I thought, it was fine. The first, him putting out his thoughts and you replying,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe a little conversation behind the scenes, to figure out what was really going on there. It would have been nice and it would have been fine. And you could have left it up and there went to been this back and forth, and people would have just ignored it. Yeah. Probably it would have just went off.
Right. Probably.
Is that me?
Carrie's getting a call. She's important.
No, it's not me.
Oh, it's not me either.
I'm sorry, guys.
Trevor.
Trevor's getting calls.
He is.
Did I
Tell
say
your
something wrong?
secretary to take those.
I was looking here to see if it's still up.
It's Life West. They're blocked you. They want you to know.
Here, let me see.
It is still up.
Okay.
The post is still up, but not yours.
Right.
Not
None
yours.
of the stuff is gone. Yeah.
So I'll be honest.
So not only did they delete everything,
yeah,
but they blocked me. That I think is somewhat significant.
I forgot about the blocking. I understand deleting the comments. I still think it's like, can we all be adults and say we need to have conversation and put it out there, because I think it says a lot about you as a church leader to be open to that, open to a conversation. I mean, especially his style. This is my only impression of this guy. Style seems like he'd be very open to just sit there with a cup of coffee and have a conversation about what's on your mind. No, I know. Well,
Trevor didn't think so.
but Trevor, wouldn't you think that by looking at him?
Yeah, you'd want somebody to be humble enough to be able to do that. The thorn in the flesh that was put to Paul to humble him, keep him humble.
Yeah.
Evidently, that's something that Christian leaders have trouble with, remaining humble.
Paul wasn't able just to block.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, he couldn't do it. But what I'm talking about is that I think that it would have shown true leadership if he would have shown some humility in disagreement. But so I was kind of shocked when Todd said he was blocked and when it was taken down.
Very big deal.
I mean, it seems like that'd be something that would be helpful. Like he says, iron sharpens iron. It seems it would be something that would be more beneficial to the church body as a whole, rather than just saying, okay, guess what? It's gone.
This never happened.
Yeah.
We have nothing to answer for.
I know. What if Paul had just said to those Thessalonians just aren't taking my advice, and I'm
out of here.
Block them.
Block them. Take them out of the Bible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that they blocked you, and now I'm pretty stunned that they did.
Are you?
Yes, I
I was
am.
I was surprised.
was.
The blocking surprised me. Maybe not the taken down, because I
Yeah,
kinda thought,
sure, they
well,
might be
I
like,
knew they
"Let's
were in
talk
an
about this."
indefensible position.
Mhm,
Institutions, see, here's the other thing you gotta take into account. This church, it's a newer church, for, I don't know. I gave you the numbers, probably 600 people going or something over 2 services, maybe
Mhm.
5 or 6, whatever. Um, Newer church are meeting in a school right now, and they're trying to raise money to build a church, and the numbers they're throwing around, and maybe this doesn't shock other people, I don't know, it's like $10,000,000
mhm.
to
Mm.
buy property and build a church and be able to minister to, I don't
Wow.
know, 3,000
You
people
know, real estate in the West is quite expensive.
in the West. That's where we're going, baby. The only place to do a church. Um, no, what I think is, and they had a big year-end offering. In fact, I think they said they just pulled in like 325 grand at the end of the year, which towards their building fund, which is pretty good. I
Mhm.
don't know, seemed like a pretty good haul to me.
Yep.
Is there is there something about the fact that when you're when when church becomes a business, when it becomes an institution that's building buildings and paying people, does it become big enough that they can't you can't take chances like a business? They look at this like a bit like a business, like, we gotta raise $10,000,000, and this kind of thing isn't gonna help that. Do you think that that's part of it at all, or no?
Mm.
Do you understand what I mean? Like, disagreement, have an honest disagreement, iron sharpening iron, that doesn't raise $10,000,000. That doesn't build a building, and that doesn't save souls. I mean, is it possible that that's a way to think about it? If you're an institution?
Well, maybe, but I totally don't understand it. I don't understand that line of thinking.
Yeah.
Church is. I'm with you, man. You should be able to. A pastor is no more spiritual than his parishioners. They don't know more. I mean, I think about the churches that I've been in, some small rural churches where uh, some of the greatest leaders that we had were the farmers. That were um, wise beyond. They didn't have any schooling
Yeah.
beyond maybe high
Mhm.
school. But he knew the Bible, they were in the Word, and, I think of could picture 2 or 3 people right now that which just were very wise, and when it came to, church dealings and what we should do, you'd listen to them first.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I just, I s I don't want my church to become a business where they look at risks and, uh, and would not look at what's right.
Right. Well,
Right,
and I
like
don't know.
truth above ego or
I'm just throwing that out. Is that a possibility of why they might not broach any kind of conversations like that? Because it's just we gotta have unity. We gotta have we're all rowing in the same direction and towards 10,000,000 bucks.
well,
I
hi,
mean,
I feel like
kinda, right?
unity I feel like unity is not cutting off anyone who is raising a question. Unity is being open and saying, "Hey, let's talk about this." And
They seem to think it is.
well, I'm sorry, there's a third concern. First concern, they deleted your comment.
Sure.
Second concern, they blocked you. And third, the original post is still up, which
Yeah.
means they didn't even give a moment's thought to, is what we've put out there accurate? Is it worth reconsidering? I'm not saying you weren't demanding an apology. You were just
No.
basically saying, hey, I don't really feel like what you're saying. This isn't how you said it. I don't really feel like what you're saying is accurate. Can we talk about it? You know,
Yeah.
and the
On
fact that,
a broader discussion. I mean, because
yeah.
see, to me, it's a public thing. You're putting it out on a Facebook post.
Hmm.
Listen, I do it all the time. I have a podcast. I put clips out all the time. People tell me I'm a Nazi. They tell me what a
Hmm.
horrible person I am because I
Hmm.
say diversity isn't our strength. Things like that.
Right.
I
They
mean,
say some
and listen,
awful
I
things.
take it. You know what? The more engagement, the better, as far as I'm concerned. People tell me I'm a Nazi, and I'll like the comment. I I don't always engage with people as much because I never know who's a bot and who's not. But I think in this situation, everyone knew I wasn't a bot,
Right.
right? So, but yeah, that's kind of I'm just I was well, I can tell you that that other people involved weren't like talked to Pastor Darrell about it. He wasn't surprised at all. He thought that they responded exactly like he thought they would respond, which is um get rid of it, don't feed it, don't fuel it, pretend like it doesn't even exist.
Wow.
Mm.
That kind of surprises me. What do you think, Trevor?
I don't know, I just think that it's just more of like that the person's in the position of authority. He doesn't want to be challenged. He doesn't want to show that humility. And so the easiest way to do it is just to make it go away.
Yeah.
And that's simple. I don't know if it was a business decision or not, but ultimately it might be because people look to the pastor as being the leader, right?
Right. The
The
authority.
spiritual one. He's the one that's he's the face of the church, and so, he you can't challenge it.
Do you think that's how they feel in general?
I
I
do.
mean, I don't feel like you're now maybe we're talking apples and oranges when we're talking the way you grew up with your dad being a pastor at a small rural church. Maybe we're just not even in the same like address anymore. You know what I mean? As far as what we're
Yeah.
talking about and how church functions. And that well could be. I don't know. But like I can't imagine your dad being like, now it's hard to also imagine your dad on social media. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right,
a
right.
whole different age.
Yeah.
And so I think that some of the rules that where you're like, well, you should just go talk to him if you're concerned about it. I think, well, in a social media age when everything's out there in front of everybody and that you're putting stuff out there, I think these things can be debated on a wider stage. Why
Yeah.
not?
Hmm.
Well, I say you were right to respond to him because otherwise it wouldn't have been addressed in the larger context that it was, originally presented.
Right.
But after that, I'm kind of with Carrie that, after that, it kind of could have been, uh, fleshed out in private a little more, but he
Sure.
didn't want to. And
Right.
he kept on escalating it. So force was met with force, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, we don't want nuclear war. It's just done. Boom, magic. It's
Yeah.
gone.
And I've had people
It
that
surprises
I've
me.
talked to about it who were like, well, you just should go to a different church if you don't like that church. And I think I'm going to have disagreements any place I go. I'm a disagreeable person. What are you talking about? I'm more comfortable disagreeing than I am agreeing with people.
Yeah.
So, but
You like
I don't,
spirited conversation.
I don't like this idea of no, you know what we need to do? We should just, we should, you should just leave because everybody's got to agree. I don't understand. How is that a body? Like, Colossians 3:16. I'm gonna read that quick, and then I'm gonna tell you there are the same church, the church we're talking about is also having a question and answer series. So I thought, well, I'll present a question. You can see if I'll read that to you in a second. But here's Colossians 3:16. Let the peace of Christ keep you in tune with each other, in step with each other. None of this is None of this going off and doing your own thing, and cultivate thankfulness. Let the word of Christ, the message, have the run of the house. Give it plenty of room in your lives. Instruct and direct one another using good common sense. In older translations, it would say, teach and admonish one another, would be kind of
What
a
did,
typical.
what does the Hebrew say?
I don't know. I don't speak Hebrew. I'm at a complete disadvantage. So, so I, as a base, I submitted this question to the Q&A. I'm quite certain it won't get answered. I mean, based on anything else, right?
How did you submit this? Clarify, because this
Just
is
on a
online.
text. So the way you do this, because
Okay.
that we don't just take this isn't Q&A isn't the pastor standing up there just taking questions
Okay.
raw. That's
Okay.
not how it's not how life works. Everything's pre-screened. They make sure they have
Okay.
it's a Sunday show. That's what
Whose
we're all
phone do you
about.
use?
I use mine, so it could be a problem. I want to find though, where is it? Because I bounced off the scripture I just read to you. And I did get an automated thing back saying, "Hey, thanks for participating in our whatever it was, our Q&A." Like I said, I don't think that I don't expect that it'll be answered, but it was I thought, if people say that I should have gone a different route, maybe you go a different route and ask a question, and maybe that's the more appropriate way. I can't find where. Sorry,
That's okay. How often do they do this Q&A? This is a cool idea, actually.
couple times a year, I would say. It's that they do things like that in most churches, right, Trevor?
I don't know.
Or
I
don't they?
haven't. Probably not.
Oh,
Some do, I'm sure, but
so they act like they want your opinions on things.
yeah.
You know? And maybe they do from a lot of people. Like last week, I was there and he said it was the first thing of the Q&A, and that and their answer was the question was the most asked question he said that they had. So essentially what you do is you text in your questions to like a church line, whatever, right?
Mhm.
The most popular question they had, and what one of the things he preached on, was the age of accountability. I bet Carrie doesn't even know what that
Oh.
is.
The age of
Do you care?
accountability?
No, she has no idea.
This
I'm
is
Because
like a
with
church.
Catholics, they baptize babies because the whole point is if you don't baptize them, they're going to hell if they die. That's the whole point. Augustine laid it out.
Oh,
But
boy.
but see, in evangelical circles, they don't believe that. So in other words, you don't have to baptize a baby. And
Mhm.
if a baby dies 6 months later from SIDS, the general belief is that that baby goes to heaven. They haven't reached the age of accountability, is what they call it.
Oh,
So
okay.
the
Yeah,
age of
got it.
accountability is, how old does a kid have to be before we can send them to hell? Like that was what was on more people's mind than anything else, which was shocking to me. But okay.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
what I mean. Like in
So
some
is it
churches, that's
set?
No.
no.
It's just it's something that's talked about.
Well, it depends how far east and west you are of a certain point.
Okay.
At a certain point, yes.
Remember, Carrie.
Yes.
Gary's our designated signer.
This
Oh,
is the
I
only
did.
one I know. This is
I,
Todd's world.
I found my Q&A question.
Okay.
I said submission for upcoming Q&A. Kind of a longer one, but I wanted to give them some freedom to just kind of pull out of it whatever they felt like, if they wanted to address it. I said, how should the body teach and admonish one another? So what I just read about. Instruct and correct. Is it only top down, like preachers on stages teaching the flock, or are we all one body? Does the instructing and correcting go both ways? Does it go all ways? Is it iron sharpening iron? Has the modern church become too passive in the pews when iron sharpening iron seems like it would involve more conflict and confrontation, and probably more biblical knowledge than most lay Christians today are capable of or comfortable with? And are we missing something in its absence? Like, what's the biblical model for teaching and admonishing one another, is what I was curious to know.
What
So
they
in other
say?
words, I doubt that that'll make it through. I doubt that'll make the cut.
Like this
But
essay sounds like Todd.
yeah, the answer is, if it sounds like you, no.
Block.
Unapproved curriculum.
Yeah.
What do you think the answer to that? That's part of why I'm asking you guys, like, if you think you did well, I feel like this should have been addressed in private. Like, is there a certain model for us to teach and instruct one another, to admonish and correct one another? Is there never a place in which any person on any stage articulating any kind of leadership position should ever be challenged by the lay people? Should they shut up in the pews and keep their hands down?
Oh, well, halfway. 3/4. 3/4.
What do you think?
Well, I think it depends on like I said, I mean, this particular situation, it was a public platform.
Yeah.
You responded in the appropriate manner. And it doesn't have to be top down, because we're all part of the body, like you mentioned. And everybody has that accountability to each other, even pastors, even the worship leaders, even the church secretary. It doesn't matter. We're all accountable to each other.
You
The
think
only
so?
one, yeah.
What do you think, Harry? Pope
Um,
accountable to you?
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know what happens if you, like, post a challenging question on the Pope's Twitter or whatever, on his Facebook.
Be fair, I've heard lots of people going after the Pope, so I think he takes his fair share.
I
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I think that I'm gonna just talk about, like, my pastor.
Yes.
If my pastor said something in, um, in a sermon that I didn't agree with or didn't understand, I could go and ask about it. I personally, and I'm sure a lot of Catholics feel this way, feel like they are an authority. We are all part of the body, like you described,
Mhm.
but because of their ordination, because
Mhm.
of the process they go through to become, I mean, I don't know about your churches, but around here, all these churches like who have pastors who look like Pastor Sam, they didn't necessarily go through any formal training. I mean, they've gone to workshops and they've been they started out
They've
as
probably been to Bible college and stuff,
youth
right?
group leaders, and okay, so probably some of them, some not. We have like a mega church
Okay.
developing here, and he was like the youth guy.
Okay.
I don't believe he's gone to whatever.
He's just charismatic and
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah, huge
maybe the
following.
Lord's touching him. Maybe the Lord's using him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. People love him. I view him differently. I'm going to sound like a institution
Catholic.
snob, but I'm going to view him differently than I'm going to sound Catholic. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because I view him differently, even though I believe he's a good guy and he's doing God's work, and I love what he's doing. But I view him differently than the priest in my church. And
Right.
with regard to their knowledge, their discernment, I'm not saying it's definite. I'm just saying it's like,
Don't walk it back, Carrie. Stick right with it.
I'm just saying I view them differently
If they
in
don't wear a
matters
funny dress, you're not
of
buying it.
authority.
You're
Yeah, I
not
mean,
up there turning bread into Jesus.
right. I mean, there's a little difference. But I will say this. I believe that I can go to my pastor and say, I didn't understand this, or this doesn't align with what I have read in scripture. Can you explain it to me or whatever? And I believe I may, yeah, I believe that that conversation would be had, and
Yeah.
he wouldn't be condescending. Now that the personality comes in there. I'm sure there are some priests who'd be like, you know,
Sure.
who's this, lay person asking me this dumb
Bring me your
question?
8-year-old boy
Yeah.
and shut up. Oh,
Todd.
no, not that.
Oh my.
That's a different
So I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Trevor.
I
Oh
don't know if
my
I'm
God.
I don't know if I'm answering your
Trevor's crossing himself.
am I
He doesn't even
answering your
know.
question.
Yeah, I'm just curious on what you think. So you would think now your priest. It's probably not the same. They probably aren't putting things out on social media. Maybe they are a priest doing that kind of thing.
They are. I was going to say
Okay.
more and more.
Maybe it makes
Yeah,
sense that
the
they would.
younger ones more and more.
How does that
Yeah.
change the equation? Do you think that changes the equation at all?
I mean, I can't imagine anyone being snarky with a priest online.
Well, I
Give me
think
a
you're talking
chance.
about I think it does depend on the amount of respect that you have for the person, okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I think but I don't think that changes our responsibility. And thank God we have his word, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
just
mean,
because
I
you
totally
have
get that.
respect for him because you believe he's studied the word of God
Yes.
and that he's an authority on it, okay? That
Yeah.
he's really poured into it and that he's living it.
Mhm.
However, if something is not confirmed by the word of God, then you would have a different kind of a lot of urgency to go talk to him, right? And
Yes.
then you
Yeah.
would make him explain it in light of what? In light of the scripture, right?
Right.
So in that sense,
Exactly.
that you're just saying that you believe he's a man of God and that he's living the word of God, don't you? So that's the respect that you give him.
Right.
But that doesn't change the accountability that we all have to each other.
Right. If my pastor, Father Matt, okay.
Father Matt.
Father Matt. If Father
Don't call
Matt,
anyone father. Oh, never mind. Jesus.
Oh, I
said
was going to say that. No, let's not go there.
oh shoot, that's a
Don't-
little, that's a
I'm
sticking point for
kidding,
you guys.
Carrie.
Anyway, If he went on social media and presented the same thing that Pastor Sam did,
Mhm.
I just imagined that, and it's like, oh yeah, I would definitely want to have a conversation. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what is he talking about? Like I can't
Am
believe
I east
more
or west of
people.
the church?
I know it's like, oh no,
Wait, do I
I've
go?
got to move. Yeah, I don't know. So, but I believe, depending on the personality, I mean, they'd be open to that conversation. But
Yeah.
Well, they
yeah,
should be.
I would be, they should be. Yeah, that's really the lesson here is church leadership, whether it's a priest or a guy who's just been called, to
Yeah.
rise up from youth group leader to mega church pastor in a
That's what
hoodie.
Trevor's on his way to.
That's right.
Trevor's
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about
the
this.
next Trevor Furtick.
But if you're a teacher or a pastor or something like that, and you're in front of those people that you're supposed to be teaching or pastoring or shepherding,
Mhm,
and you have somebody that questions you,
mhm.
you can't help but automatically become defensive.
Mhm.
Me, I'm teaching elementary school kids right now, and once in a while, one of them says something to me, and I'm like, seriously?
You little smart
Why'd you
ass.
ask me again after you go and get your bachelor's and your master's and music for, and I do it
How about I teach
jokingly.
you to sing?
But, but I should, and sometimes I joke about it and
No, I get you. It's
with
funny.
the kid, we should come back and say, that's a good question. And then
Yes.
if you're confident in your answer, you say, well, this is the reason.
Yeah.
And then if they come back with a rebuttal like Todd did, you just block it. Hey,
That's
Todd,
it.
yeah, just
That's what you do.
out of the class, out the door.
If you
They're
can,
gone.
you kill them. But in this society, it's hard to kill them, so you just block them.
That's that. So
The
it doesn't matter.
Catholics in the 1400s skinned them alive. That's
gonna
how
say.
they talk.
In biblical times, stoning.
So I know how he feels, you can't help, but if that's the order that's your position you're in,
Yeah.
your first instinct is that, and that's just human.
I was gonna say that's human, and
But what
that's
you do about it,
yes.
that's different.
Mhm.
I might be built a little different because I got to say, well, I do like to challenge people, but I also like to be challenged. Like I like it back. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh, do
like,
you?
I just get into it. I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean?
No, you do like that, Todd, and you are built
And I don't take
differently.
it personally, and I don't try to give it personally. I just, man, I love the like back and forth of it.
Mhm.
You know?
That's the kind of attitude we should have then. Iron
Mhm.
sharpens iron, just like you said.
Oh, Trevor, you saying that reminds me. Speaking of X, I search everything on Grok all the time. That's Grok.
Oh,
That's
that's your
X's.
AI of choice?
Yes,
Not
that's my
tried it.
AI
I
of
need
choice.
I need to go give it a try.
And sometimes it'll pull up some kind of interesting things. So a lot of times I'll use it like when I'm quoting projects for people, and then I'll say, "What's the average price?" I like to make sure that I'm like in the ballpark, that I didn't figure
Right.
something wrong, or I'm not like charging them too much, or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So, but this all I put in was iron sharpening iron into Grok, and part of it was I knew it was in Proverbs somewhere, but I didn't feel like looking for it, and I thought they'll bring it up, and then you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So here's what it says. It says, this was Grok's response. Iron sharpening iron. That's a classic one. I love the personality of the AI. Whole world's going to hell. We're going to be ruled by robots, but it's kind of funny.
They're very complimentary in one manner.
They are. They can take.
I'll love it as they put me into my cocoon and start using me like a battery. It comes straight.
Plug in like the Matrix.
It comes straight from the Bible, Proverbs 27:17 in the NIV. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. The core idea is that growth, improvement, and refinement happen through interaction and friction, not in isolation. Just like a blade gets dull without contact with something hard enough to hone it, people get sharper mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and professionally when they rub against others who challenge, encourage, correct, or push them. It's
Mm.
not always gentle. Sometimes it's sparks flying debate or honest confrontation. Sometimes it's mutual accountability. Sometimes it's just showing up consistently in each other's lives and getting together. The proverb implies reciprocity. Both pieces of iron benefit when they're engaged properly. So, but it's a reminder that real progress usually requires resistance, not just comfort. Isolation dulls, good friction sharpens. I thought that was really good
Yeah.
because that's kind of how I think of it. I think it's not a gentle process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it's friction. It should be uncomfortable, or else it doesn't work.
Yeah. And so when people avoid it, it's like, what are they really trying to achieve?
Doesn't it seem like a lot of the church avoids it today? That was my thing I said at the beginning about it. Feels like a lot of times people just want a bunch of shiny, happy people holding hands. Like they want the Coke commercial from the 70s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that the difference is the internal versus external. Like they already feel like the resistance is our culture and the
Okay.
spiritual warfare that's happening. But I don't think they've accepted that and they address that all the time. Why are you making that face at me, Trevor? But
I
like
just wonder whether
oh, I know, look
no,
over
you're
at him and he's like,
Trevor's getting
what is she
called out.
saying?
Trevor, you're about to be blocked. Boom.
I was just trying to think of the context because I can't remember the context. Iron sharpens iron. I know that
Oh.
you're saying that they're thinking that we are this and we're against the world,
Oh.
and that's the friction. But I don't think that's the case.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
the iron
What is the context of that
Well, the
scripture?
Sorry,
verse.
I just thought there was a cat throwing up. Never mind.
Oh, that's no
No.
big
Proverbs
deal.
27:17,
Happens
right?
all the time here.
Yeah, sorry. I know. I was like, wait, what is that? No, you're right, Trevor. And actually that's not a good example of that. But when I just was talking about, I was responding to Todd reading about the resistance and the
Right.
friction. And I think,
That's
you
what
know
they
what?
think.
That's what they think. They think their resistance and their friction is that their institution against the culture or the spiritual warfare,
Right.
Yeah.
the anti-Christian,
I think
attitude.
you're right that they take that position. I think Trevor's right that
Right.
when it says
But
you use steel to sharpen
internally,
steel,
Mhm.
one friend sharpens another.
Yes, but internal I mean, who wants to be uncomfortable, have friction, and have resistance internally? No, they want unity, they want the shiny, happy people,
Right.
for sure. I mean, I think we just gravitate most people, Todd,
Yeah.
gravitate to that because
Most
it's
half-assed decent
it
people.
feels good, it's harmonious, it's,
So the Hebrew says that iron sharpens iron. Wait,
Only in the West.
iron. Oh, listen, here we go. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
Mm.
Of his friend.
So it's between friends is your point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fellow travelers of this journey.
Mhm. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Generally, I think that's what it's talking about. I think Carrie's
I
right in
agree.
that I think how people take it is
Exactly.
different. You know what I mean? I think
Mhm.
that you're right in how it's supposed to be taken, and I
Mhm.
think Carrie's right in that, like so many things, people don't take it right at all. You know what I
Well,
mean?
well, I was gonna say, I don't think that they believe that they're sharpening their iron by, by fighting the culture. I just think that they've forgotten that that is an important thing because it's kinda like us against the world.
And we all gotta be united. We don't need
We need
friendly
to be
fire.
united, and yeah, and
Okay.
people will naturally
Mm.
avoid confrontation, friction, resistance, especially I mean, well, we're all defensive, like Trevor said, but especially someone in a leadership position, they don't wanna be challenged. Yeah, I mean, that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
No one wants to be criticized or questioned or
Or wrong.
wrong. Thank you.
Wrong.
Yeah, or shown to be wrong. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
Our old buddy Will, he knew what was going on. We were talking some, obviously, and he said, "You're sowing dissension among the brethren." That's a classic Titus thing, and it's in Titus 3, and here's what he's talking about. Now, it doesn't say that exactly because this is the Message, and he's using a worse Bible. But,
Oh,
but in the Message, it says, "Stay away from mindless, pointless quarreling over genealogies and fine print in the law code. That gets you nowhere. Warn a quarrelsome person once or twice, then be done with them. It's obvious that such a person is out of line, rebellious against God. By persisting in divisiveness, he cuts himself off. Okay, so that's what Will was referring to.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I was in that realm. First of all, I've been going there like 3 or 4 years, and this is the first time I ever have, other than saying I wouldn't mind doing a community group and being shot down.
Mhm.
Other than that, and even then I didn't reply. I was like, fine, I don't care.
Right, you moved on pretty quickly.
Yeah, didn't matter to me. But I didn't even really want to do it with them, but Pastor Darrell talked me into trying it, and I gave it the old college try. But I
Yeah.
don't think that I'm being divisive or quarrelsome. Like, to me, that's a person who's really it's that minor stuff Trevor's talking about that's really, like, doesn't matter and, like, gets really hung up on it. It'd be like I've run into people that were, like, King James only. They were like, "Listen, you can't even get saved if it's not the King James Bible." Like, just crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing would be divisive in a church. I don't think the way that I was approaching it was divisive. What do you think? Or am I wrong?
Mm. I don't think it was.
I mean, it's not. They shut it down.
It was
I think it was.
yeah.
I think it was a perfect opportunity for him to show some true leadership and humility, and I think it was missed. I mean,
Mhm.
I have no relationship with him,
Sure.
and I might visit church with you sometime now, but when I'm over
He'll
there,
tackle you on the way in.
and
He'll raise his hands up really high during worship.
we'll do a double block, double team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
I mean,
think it
a
was I don't
chance.
think it was divisive. It was confrontational, but it didn't sound like you were trying to be divisive.
No, I don't wish anything. I don't want. I'm not trying. I'm not trying to have people from the church follow me. Anything. I don't care about any of that. All I'm trying to do, really,
Yeah.
all I'm trying to do is improve it just a little. Like, be like, if you just, because what I'm talking about, I really think you don't need it. You don't, that part of you that wants to go take what you already know must be there and go find things. There's so much that is just so right on the surface that would take all your entire lifetime to teach and get through to your flock. You know what I mean? You just don't need the stupid stuff. It's just it doesn't even provide any color. It's unnecessary, and it puts you in a position of defending the indefensible. And why would you want to do that?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I think if they were going to take you down and block you, I think they should have took it all down. They should took that whole post down.
Yeah.
I
The
agree,
the
and the
clip
fact
and
that it's
everything.
still there is kind of says a lot that is not favorable about them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think it says? Like, does it say that they care more about
Image.
a consensus and an image?
Mhm.
I think it's image.
Image?
It's image, it's pride from an image standpoint, from a knowledge standpoint, authority, knowledge/authority. Yeah,
Feeling
it's,
like they can't afford any chinks in their armor?
I guess.
Does
I
that make
mean,
sense? That's not a shot at Asians.
what do you mean what do you mean by chinks in the armor? Oh god.
Well, like a knight's armor, like if like you get hit with something,
Mhm.
and like if
Like
you were in a
Smog had that one little.
battle and you had like a dent going across one side,
Oh,
they
yeah.
they don't they that would be the image. The image is that we're flawless, I guess.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Whereas when I say chinks in the armor, it'd be like you're in it, like you're in the fray, and iron is sharpening iron, and sometimes you're wrong, and that's okay. There's
Oh,
nothing
yeah,
wrong with we're all wrong sometimes. But the
yeah.
answer is no, I can never be told that I'm wrong by anyone who isn't behind the scenes and
Who's
on my
subservient.
level. I guess I don't know. Is that kind of am I thinking that right?
That's my take. But
Mhm.
basically, it's the take from the beginning,
Yeah. And you think,
Yeah.
Trevor, if you'd have been, you know, if it was 10 years later and you're your mega church pastor self and you've
Yeah.
got 10,000
Mhm.
people,
Yeah. Mhm.
how would you respond? How would you hope that you would deal with the situation?
I would have been, "What? You're questioning me?" And then I would have
See
thought,
the Teslas I have parked out there?
"Do you know who I am?" And then I would have hopefully come back down and said, "You know what? Let's think about this, and is my position actually correct? And is it worth going down this hole, this rabbit hole, and digging my heels in?"
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
dug
then
their heels
hopefully
in.
hopefully I do it exactly what I wanted him to do, which was maybe give a talk to you, and maybe if he felt like it, maybe say, "Well, thank you for that perspective."
Yeah.
Why not? That would show true leadership.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that you're right that it would. I don't know in the current way that the institution is structured, I don't know how likely those types of things are, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
I mean, maybe they still are in smaller churches and whatever, but I think you get into something where they're trying to build a $10 million bigger stage for a big Sunday show. I mean, some things get sacrificed along the way, and I got to believe that kind of iron sharpening iron and willingness to engage like that probably is one of the things it seems like.
There's some casualties along the way.
Yeah, I think that's what they would think, and maybe they would think it's worth it. I don't know. Like I said, we're not talking about bad people. I
Right.
mean,
No.
I pray for these people. Like, they're part of my circle. Like, when I'm like, "Let your kingdom come in me, let your kingdom come in my circle," like, "Come in my town, come in my church," like, work through people. Like, these like, I'm praying for them. All like, not necessarily every day. I don't pray for everybody every day, but or anybody every day, but quite a bit, you know? It's in my mind that this is part of a circle that I travel in, and I want God's blessing on it. I want God to
Mhm,
work through it, and I want God to bless them, and you know what I mean? I
mhm.
don't care. Now I understand I come off confrontational and whatever, and I am confrontational, but I'm not I don't want anything other than once you get your $10 million bigger stage, be better. Like, just do a better job with it, because I think that's what God calls all of us to, is to be better, to become better, to be better stewards, be better pastors, to be better builders, to be better podcasters, to be better whatever.
Mhm.
Like, you don't start off, you never have it nailed. We're all always learning. The
Right.
body is always working together, correcting itself.
But someone in a position of leading people on spiritual matters should be in the pursuit of truth.
Yeah, you'd hope.
And I
Well,
feel like
but see, they
this
think they already have
that
it is the thing.
but I was gonna say, but this is a situation where, um, like that should never be sacrificed. You know, you're talking about
Yeah,
sacrifices along the way. It's like, yeah, but the pursuit of truth and presenting truth should be the ultimate goal. Um, and I don't know. I just they think they have it, but it's obvious they don't on this one.
on
I
this
mean,
one.
it's obvious. You gave other examples that proved it wrong,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and they're simply denying it, and that's concerning.
the
Well, they're looking
override.
for the quick soundbite,
Yeah.
they wanna show off their wit, the quick little
Right.
soundbite, and it
Mhm.
was he had one, boom, and then you ruined it.
Well, let me ask you this.
You ruined it,
I
Todd.
ruined it. I
Block.
always ruin everything. Block that son of a bitch. Um, it's probably what they said.
Mm.
I hope that's what they said. That'd be so much more entertaining than what probably happened.
Just imagine. Yeah.
Mm.
um, I do think. What do you think? Okay, that's the leadership position, right? And what we would hope. What do you think of the lay people's position within the church? Do you think that most people going to church, they don't want anything to do with all of, they don't think about it like that, they don't hear it like that, they just want to feel good about the worship service and the preaching and go home? I
Yeah.
mean, is that reasonable? Like, they don't want all this going on.
I
They're
think
not
that's
worried
why
about the truth.
I think that's how you make a mega church though, Todd. I mean, you have to have those kind of people. Why do you think there's, like, a tipping point in attendance where it's hard to grow, and then all of a sudden you get to a certain number and it's called a tipping point, and then all of a sudden growth happens exponentially?
Hmm.
Because people want to come in to Sunday church, not feel like they're gonna be singled out, kind of anonymous,
Yeah,
Anonymous.
and then they want to be able to leave,
yeah,
and if you have
Yeah.
people like, if you come into a smaller church, all of a sudden you're like, "Are they gonna ask me to do something? Am I gonna have to give some money here?
right,
Am I gonna have," and you go into one of the churches that have that tipping point, those this many people, you can grow because a lot of those people are just gonna be bodies there,
yeah,
not people that are actually contributing, not people that actually wanna grow. They just wanna say they went to church, or they want it to be kind of, entertainment. They wanna do their part. "Well, I went to church Sunday." and I'll go to church next Sunday and I'll think about God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they've got the package all set.
Right. So I think that's why.
Man, I just think, we go back to I've been thinking about the Tower of Babel lately. I know this is a weird transition. When we finish Acts, I'm still thinking real seriously about going through Genesis next, because I just love Genesis, and
Mm.
it's like the beginning. And if you look at the Tower of Babel, I want to find it quick, and I'm going to tell you, and you tell me if you think I'm crazy. I might be. Nobody's ever said that before. They just block me. Well, says it
Well,
one.
you already
Go
found it.
ahead.
Go. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Carrie. I want to hear what you had to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, that you're describing in a large church, kind of like just the general many of the people, but within that large number is it's the person there are lots of people who are like the small groups, and they're the ones who hang out in the entryway and they talk afterwards.
Right.
They're the volunteers and they're the ones looking for more and looking and who do the studies and deepen their knowledge as they grow in their faith. And so I feel like even in those mega churches
Right.
within there are the smaller
There's still a core.
groups looking for looking for
That
that
makes sense.
community. And so anyway.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think you're both right. I think what Trevor said is true, that
Mhm.
you do have that core, but then once you hit a certain number, it takes off exponentially, because
Yeah,
you're
that's
just
interesting.
you're adding a bunch of, it's almost a marketing thing at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just talk to enough people like Amway, you'll get it. You're right. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
Yeah.
Like, there is something to that. I mean, at
If
least
you
how,
see enough of the stickers on the cars in your
yeah,
city, people start to go there. Like, what is that?
right.
What is that church? That's what happened here with that
Yeah.
mega
Yeah.
church. Yeah. Okay.
So this is Genesis 11. At
Mhm.
one time, the whole earth spoke the same language. It so happened that as they moved out of the east, there must be something to that. As they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar and settled down, they said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and fire them well." They used brick for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower that reaches heaven. Let's make ourselves famous so we won't be scattered here and there across the earth." God came down to look over the city and the tower those people had built. God took one look and said, "One people, one language. Why, this is only a first step. No telling what they'll come up with next. They'll stop at nothing. Come, we'll go down and garble their speech so they won't be able to understand each other." Then God scattered them from there all over the world. They had to quit building the city. That's how it came to be known. That's how it came to be called Babel, because that's where God turned their language into Babel. From there, God scattered them all over the world.
Mhm.
Well, it's kind of a strange story, and it's right. This is like post flood. So God's destroyed the world. The world's just coming back. So this is a real foundational story about humanity. And I think about what makes us tick. And what I wonder if it's telling us is that there's something in man that has this insatiable desire to build our way to God. I think what it's talking about is it's talking about religion. And I think when God says, if they're united like this, nothing's going to prevent them, does that mean they're actually going to build a tower to heaven? No, but it might mean they think that they have. You know what I mean? And that might be just as destructive. And I think
Ah.
right from the beginning, God is smashing this institutionalism, this virus of institutionalism that pervades humanity on all kinds of levels. And one of them is religion. And one of them is, no matter what, we always want to build something. We always want some kind of a monument. We always want something that says we can do this. You know what I mean? And when that infects you, when that becomes a thing, that isn't what Christ left. What Christ did is he came and he leveled all the institutions. And he says in Matthew 23, he says, listen, you know how, in fact, I want to read Matthew 23 because I think it's so good. And this is not an attack on Catholics, Carrie,
Okay.
even though they say Father in it.
Oh, gotcha.
He says, now Jesus turned to address his disciples. And he says, the religion scholars and Pharisees are competent teachers in God's law. You won't go wrong in following their teachings on Moses, but be careful about following them. They talk a good line, but they don't live it. They don't take it into their hearts and live it out in their behavior. It's all spit and polish veneer. And he says, don't, okay. They love to sit at the head of the table at church dinners, basking in the most prominent positions, preening in the radiance of public flattery, receiving honorary degrees, and getting called doctor and reverend. Don't let people do that to you. Put you on a pedestal like that. You all have a single teacher and you are all classmates. Don't set people up as experts over your life, letting them tell you what to do. Save that authority for God. Let Him tell you what to do. No one else should carry the title of father. You only have one father, and He's in heaven. And don't let people maneuver you into taking charge of them. There's only one life leader for you and them, Christ. Do you want to stand out? Then step down. Be a servant. If you puff yourself up, you'll get the wind knocked out of you. But if you're content to simply be yourself, your life will count for plenty. And I think Matthew 23 kind of governs everything that Christ left for the church, which was He came into and He knew our desire, our insatiable desire for institutions. And I think He's leveling that. I think within the body working together, the body admonishing and teaching one another, it was never set up to have people on stages that are directing their, you know what I'm saying? Like it was meant for us. Now, I'm not saying that it's wrong that people get up there and preach. My point is that the dynamic that sets up then becomes, well, this guy is the authority and he knows everything. And that was never what the body was meant to be. The body was always meant to be all of us together, teaching, correcting, admonishing one another. Does that make sense? And I think right from the beginning in the Tower of Babel, God's doing that, where he's just leveling that whole idea that we can build our way into something that's going to take us to God. What
Right.
do you think of my thoughts on that?
I think is exactly correct, you know. And when you guys get to the Tower of Babel in Genesis, ask me on again because I have some
You have some more thoughts?
I have some thoughts on that. I don't want to delve into it right now, but they concern AI and what's happening now.
Mm.
And with the that always brings me back to the Tower of Babel as well. And that's another. I don't want to get into the
That is
weeds
a good.
there.
I thought I've even said this to people that I think AI is a distillation of the spirit of the age.
Yeah.
Mm.
And how they're
Same
saying
idea.
how it's gonna overtake, you know, in years it's gonna be, you know, have the intelligence. It's
Yep.
gonna surpass our intelligence.
I don't buy it either.
Mm.
And it's just, you know, I mean, is God scared? No, no, He's not. But yeah, that'll be a great conversation someday. But
We'll do that.
yeah, but for now, you know, I'm just thinking, yeah, I can understand. I love Matthew 23. It's that was a beautiful scripture there. I like that. I forgot it. I forgot that. And Carrie, you're not offended, are you?
Oh, no,
Don't
no,
call anybody father.
I'm not offended, yeah.
Well, we call our fathers
Actually,
father.
it makes
Yeah, that's true.
I was gonna say, it makes me wonder how they came to that decision,
Yeah, I don't know.
for that to be their title. It makes me wonder where that came from. Um, but I was gonna say, where do we find the balance between the need for leaders, because not everyone's gift is to educate and, you know, keep
Or maybe
people
their
on
time.
track and Hmm?
Some people are just trying to find time to survive, right?
Well,
They don't
yeah,
have
but
time to.
I don't think that means we're supposed to just stay at home and read the Bible ourselves and be in a little bubble. I think it's
No,
okay
I
to
don't
go
think
and
so either.
right. I'm just saying, but like there's got to be something in
Sure.
between the Sunday show where the message has been lost and just learning on your own, like self-teaching,
Right.
because I mean there's got to be something, but I think you're right, Todd, that our inclination is to build something, and we like to grow, and we want to build a $10 million, family life center or whatever it
Sure.
is,
Yeah.
because the church is growing, and that's wonderful. But there's how do you find the balance then between what Matthew is saying and the way our church is developed today?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the challenge, right? That's
Hmm.
the adventure that is following Christ and trying to become a body and trying to function as a
Right.
body, you know?
Hmm.
And yeah, I think you're right in that. There does have to be balance, and that we do only have one teacher. So how do we balance that, you know?
it would certainly require a lot of humility on the part of the leaders.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's set up to not have that kind of thing, but if you're gonna
Mhm,
no matter what we do,
mhm,
it comes off that way. You can't have a guy up front. You can't have a guy who starts a church who gets paid full time by the church, who does everything for the church and not have it morph into that. It just, that's
mhm.
the
Right.
the optics, everything about it work in that direction.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you get away from it. It's a hard thing, I don't think most people want to get away from it. I think most people are just like Israel. They want a king.
Mm.
They don't want when God first brought the children of Israel out of Exodus. I think it's Exodus 14, and he says, "You're going to be a kingdom of priests and kings, and I'm gonna meet with you directly and all this." Then a few chapters later, God actually descends on Mount Sinai, and there's all this thunder and lightning. The people all back away, and they tell Moses, "You talk to God. We don't want anything to do with him. We'll listen to you." And that wasn't God's original design, but God accommodated it. And he accommodated it into the tabernacle and into the law, and then eventually into the temple. God didn't want a temple. He says to David, "What makes you think what makes you think I'll dwell in a house?" That wasn't God's original idea. And I think when Jesus finally came, Jesus leveled all of that.
Mhm.
But then within a couple hundred years of the early church and of him leaving, we're right back to it. We're right back to combining religion and the state, and well, we got to vote about this and what about this, and we're building
Yeah.
things, and you know what I mean?
Right.
It's our eternal temptation, I think.
Yeah.
It's just
Mhm.
hardwired into us as people for some
Right.
reason, as humans. And it's a tough thing to get by because you got to have some institutions, and it's like government. We hate government, but I mean, you got to have some of it, or you end up like
Right.
Minneapolis. So, you know what I mean? It's like it's in
Yeah.
malls. But that's the thing is where do you find? I think you're right, Carrie. It's finding that balance. And I think you're right that balance, if you read the Bible, that balance is always going to come through love, and it's always going to come through humility. And it's always going to come with people banging it out, iron sharpening iron. You know what I mean?
It should.
It's gonna have
It
the
should
only
come
way
that
you get
way.
iron sharpening iron is if there's a level of humility and love
Mhm.
involved, because otherwise,
Right.
why would you engage at all? Just shut it down and block them. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's a
Yep.
lot easier if what you're trying to build is an institution.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to just get rid of the dissenting voices,
Yeah, exactly.
because
Yeah.
dissension doesn't put you any closer to 10 million bucks. That doesn't raise you an extra 10 grand. You know what I mean? I know that's a cynical way to look at it, and I'm not saying that's necessarily how it's looked at, but you
Mhm.
could see how it could be,
Yeah.
I can
you
see
know?
that. Well,
So,
and like you said at that time too, if you're asking people for that kind of support, you need to be
you need to up
accountable
your
for.
game,
Yeah.
I think.
And I agree with that too. If you're just
Yeah.
starting up, I went to a church service here one time that was in an old movie theater.
Oh, that's
Oh.
cool.
That's where they met because it was like the space that was available. Like they didn't
Yeah,
have a
sure.
that's just where they met.
Yeah.
And if you're going to that and it's just a guy and his wife is like, the
Handing
worship
out the
leader and
bulletins
they're
or
just
yeah, the
starting,
bullet yeah,
you've got like, 80 people sitting there or whatever. That's one thing. But
right.
yeah, if you're in a position like that one, I think your game needs to be you
Yeah,
have to be the you
absolutely.
have to be the whole package, and that requires some humility. Mm, and openness.
What do you think, Trevor? Any final thoughts? We've gone over
Well, yeah,
2 hours. We haven't
yeah,
done a
you
Beers with
could
Jesus over 2 hours, and I don't know how
Yeah.
long. And
I
it's
tell you,
been wildly
there's
entertaining, every single bit of it. I don't think people should miss a minute.
there's so many more directions you could go too, and then we're
I
talking about
know.
these mega churches and stuff, and how you put the stickers on the cars, and how the trend is getting to these satellite churches, and that whole it kind of rubs me the wrong way because the pastor won't let go. They don't plant churches anymore. They make them all. They have Bayside, Bayside East, West, North, South. Is that's the church over around
Not
here, and it's
east.
just
Ah, eat.
oh yeah, there is East. I
Can you
think.
believe it? They must not have heard.
But but it's just like you know the broadcasting with this one service over here to the other churches, but they have pastors here. I don't even want to get into it right now,
I don't like it either.
but it's just crazy to me that how can you not be elevated to the point where, like, oh, I can't. They can't have their own pastor doing his own message, working on their own. They need
Me.
to lead it. Me
They need
They
to lead
need to
it.
hear from me every week.
Right.
You know what I mean? How can you not, as a human being, get to that point?
Well,
I want to do a shout out to the Catholic Church for the Catholic
Yes.
churches right now who have multiple pastors at every location.
Look at them go. Look at them go. And they're all drinking. Praise Jesus, beers with Jesus. No, I think that you're right. I'm gonna bring up my ex-wife one more time, Ronnie, because she had said something about, my spirit in it. But then I was talking to her, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. But anyway, um, God, I just lost what I was gonna say. What just happened? I just had it. What is going on? Oh, I'm getting attacked from all angles here, people.
Uh-oh. You were talking to Ronnie.
I know. What was I about to say? I wanted to make sure you
Satellite churches.
Oh.
Yeah, it was about satellite churches. What?
Oh, it was? Okay.
Or it was
It
about
was
mega
about the
churches.
spirit. You said it was about the
Yeah,
your
she said
spirit.
that, but it was more. Oh, I know what it was. She said, and this was regarding to that question and answer thing and whatever. And
Mhm.
she said, "Well, yeah, they're only engaging with the questions that they want to engage in, just like you do on your podcast." And you know what I said? And I said, "Okay." And if they feel the same way about their church that I do about my podcast, which is I started it, I create all of it, and I run it, and if that's how they feel about their church, then you're right. They dealt with it exactly the way that I deal with my podcast.
That's
But
fair.
I don't think that that's how Jesus set up his church. You know what I mean? This isn't a church. And even so, I think I'm pretty wide open. I didn't put any restrictions on anybody at all. You guys can say, "No, I don't think maybe you should have gone to him personally." And maybe I should have. I don't know. I don't think it would have had I don't think in the end anything would have mattered either way. But we wouldn't have gotten the instructiveness of what happens when they shut you down and you know what I mean? Because
Right.
I got a feeling that's not an isolated incident. I don't think I'm so exceptionally disagreeable that I'm the exception to every rule out there. I got a feeling that kind of thing happens. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you brought up your
All over
agreeableness
the
because
country.
we were
Oh yeah,
agreeable
we have to talk to Trevor.
agreeability because we're supposed to check in on Trevor now
What do you
to
think,
see
Carrie?
where
Is
he is.
Trevor agreeable or disagreeable?
I think that
Pretty middle of the road.
I think no, I think
Even
Trevor.
keel.
I think he's very grounded, and and that's why you're saying middle of the road and that's why you also said if it matters because here's what I think. If there's I was gonna say, he's gonna hold everyone to truth.
Yeah.
So if he feels that it's deviating at all, he's definitely going to speak up in disagreement. If if it's right on, he's gonna come across as very agreeable.
I bet if you
But
took a Jordan Peterson personality test, I bet you're okay. Let's say I'm a 3 on the overall disagreeableness. I bet you're
It was lower than
below
that.
20.
Yeah.
Is
You
there
might be
20?
below 10.
How much is there? What is
Well, it goes
what
all
is
the way up to 100. So
Oh,
in other
wow.
words, out of 100 people in a room,
Mhm.
I'm more disagreeable than all but 2 or 3. It's the idea.
Seriously?
Yeah.
There's that many more people
Yes.
disagreeable?
It's because Todd likes to debate. He likes to
I
challenge.
guess.
Well, I mean, it is. It's not
Yeah.
that it's not that you're a jerk. It's just
Yeah, I like to scrum.
Mhm.
And I really do. Like, I think I think this could make Life West better. I don't know if it'll be
Mhm.
approached that way. I don't know if anybody will even see it. Who knows?
And it could lead to a name change.
That's the thing. They've invested in the letterhead and the merch. It's
We've
too late.
already
They're
got
like,
it.
we
We
gotta
know we're
commit
going
to
west,
this.
young man. Michael W. Smith told us.
Yeah, that was a good album, man.
Well, listen, guys, we got to close this down. I had a great time, Trevor. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
I really
Thank you
enjoyed it.
so
We'll have you
much.
back again. We'll have to not wait as long in between. I don't even know how long it's been. I don't
Tower of
keep
Babel.
track of such things.
Genesis 11.
Yeah, we'll keep that on the radar. As fast as we go through, that could be another year.
Hopefully it won't be that long.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Carrie, of course, thank you always for joining us. I thought this was kind of fun. It was a little different take. We had a guest on. We went through things a little differently. Next week, guys, we're going to be back to Acts.
Special edition.
Back to our boring, just going through the Bible.
Taking down
Just listening to what it
institutions
says.
edition. Right.
amen.
All right, guys. Well, listen,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed it. And
Please share with friends and
yeah, I think, oh, yeah, listen to Wildly Opinionated News Hour if you haven't. That was on yesterday. It's all on Todd's World. Share it with friends. We aren't going to grow any other way. Check out toddsworld.net. And yeah, if you're in West Michigan, you want to give Life West a try, give them a try. They're not bad. Worship's awesome. And, listen, this
make a
one
big
thing
donation.
doesn't, yeah, make a donation. No, this one thing doesn't color everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This just happens to be one thing. And I felt like, well, if they don't want to address it, well, let's address it.
Did you
Maybe
invite them for comment? I was going to say at some point in this, I think I'm sure you wanted to say, and it kind of goes without saying, that you are approaching this as respectfully as possible,
Sure.
like as objectively and whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not trying to.
Sure, why not?
As respectfully as I'm
Well, like you
capable
said,
of.
this doesn't ruin it. This doesn't ruin them for you.
Doesn't at all.
Yeah,
Like I said, I pray for them all the time. Pray for that
Mhm.
God, that the Spirit will descend, that God will bring revival to this community through them, through all the churches here.
I think it actually strengthens your case, your position that you actually were humble enough to go back.
I enjoy.
That's the kind of discourse you want.
Yeah, I'm not like I'm not
Good
trying to
point.
make a big, huge ordeal with anything.
Mhm.
You don't want to talk about it. I'll talk about it on my platform, and then you can probably continue to ignore it. but
No,
but I
it's a
think
good point, Trevor.
I
Yeah.
think there's a better way. I think there's a way that people could be more edified. The church could be more built up. Maybe you wouldn't get the numbers quite as fast as you want to get them, but you could have real growth in the body, maybe in a way that
Spiritual growth.
a lot of modern churches struggle with. It seems like, I mean, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to judge everybody. Listen, I give the Sunday show a hard time, but I listen to Stephen Furtick all the time. There ain't nobody more Sunday show than Stephen Furtick. He ain't nothing but a Sunday show. So, but he ministers to me. So I don't know. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
I go to Life West. I think some things are wrong. God still ministers to me. The worship is still great, and
Well, it's
keep
better
my
than
arms
saying, I
down a little.
disagree with that. I'm not going back, which is sadly what some people do. And then they miss that opportunity to be ministered from another human who's flawed. And
What makes me a
Right.
little sad is I think that that the brass might want that. Like, to me, when you take something down and you block me like that, that's you wanting me to leave. And then
so you
that
went
makes me
back to be
not want to
disagreeable.
leave. I don't know. You gotta ask Bob Jones about that. I walked around down there for a long time, and every week they were telling me how they were kicking me out this week.
Can't believe you went to Bob Jones.
I can't either. What was I doing?
Oh, great.
Look at all I learned. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. And check out Wildly Opinionated News Hour. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks, Trevor.
Yep. Thank you.
See you, Carrie.